champions, fuckery to a minimum. Just finished up a little session on the push iron. One clip, and we're off home for a cup of tea.
So yeah, you might have done your story a bit too early because we've still got opportunity to fuck this up, mate.
Hey, it's not a problem at all. I'm just reeling them in.
Let's have a look. It's not live, you know. Like it's not live, don't you? Obviously.
Nah, I know. Yeah, I know. It's like I keep getting loads of people being like, "When are you going to do it? When are you recording it?" I'm like, "Right, okay, don't worry. I'll keep everyone updated." I had loads of messages when I put one asking? Up on.
Really?
Yeah. Like, where can I listen to it? Like, and then when I put the post up, like, was it like a couple of weeks back or a week back? I literally just had loads of people messaging me being like, make sure you put a link up when it's all done. I'm like, yeah, don't worry about it. Like, link will go up. Same as on, I put one up on the story on TikTok and people are all over it as well. So
you understood the assignment.
It's the same as anything though. Like, yeah.
You have to market it, and I'll try my best, but my reach is nowhere near what yours is, especially for people who like you. They don't know who I am. I don't have a fucking clue who I am. They're listening for you. It's your episode. Do you know what I mean?
So well, I'll try and make it a good one.
Yeah, it'll be grand, mate. I was watching your thing earlier where you did a backflip on a fucking BMX. Yep. I'm like, whoa. I could not even risk doing anything like that because I'm thinking, as soon as you did it, I'm thinking, I was going to get injured. So that's my first reaction to anything.
It always goes through your head. Yeah. You're like, I could crash this.
Yeah, but then I'm thinking, I'm a bit like that anyway with like being super safe. But I'm thinking, he's self-employed. He's going to break his fucking arm on that bike. Honestly, that's what goes through my mind. How's he going to do his work? So yeah, taking some risk
100%. There, it's like one of them things that always goes through your mind. Like you're like, I could fall off, or I could have an accident. Like I've been there. Like years ago, I had an accident, and then ended up just screwing me up for like 6 weeks at work.
Yeah.
But then if you didn't do anything that's a little bit of risk involved,
does that go through your mind while you're doing it though? You know, when you're actually doing the backflip, what goes through your mind?
Oh, not a great deal, mate. There's not a huge amount. Nah, well, you're not missing much. No, there's not like, I don't know. It's hard to explain.
Is it like muscle memory at that point?
Yeah, like I've done that many of them on
you
that
get
many
a rush from
ramps.
It.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. I'm not a thrill seeker.
One of them things. I just enjoy it.
Yeah. You're a thrill seeker. You probably get a similar. It's like a drug. You're a little bit addicted to it, I bet.
Yeah.
You do crazy things.
Even after all these years of riding, it's still like you still get a good buzz from it.
I can't remember if I read it or watched it on a documentary, but you know the people who do the jump out of an airplane and then fly, whatever them squirrel suits. Have you seen them?
Yeah.
They're addicted. They're addicted to that because, and I understand this. They say when your adrenaline is so high, you become like superhuman. And your vision gets 10 times better, and your hearing gets 10 times better. So you know when they're flying through the fucking sky, you're thinking, how are they not dying? It's because the senses are heightened. They've genuinely got better reflexes and better eyesight and stuff. Probably because the body's thinking, fuck, we might die.
Yeah, I'm flying towards the floor at like hundreds of miles an hour. Yeah, like that's not me.
I think
I'll pass when things get that adrenaline there.
That one and skydiving, I think I could do. I don't know why, but everything else, no chance. And I have seen one of those guys.
No, I couldn't think of anything worse.
It's a famous video, actually. One of those guys. It's fucking horrific. I don't know how fast they go, but they go fast, don't they?
Oh, yeah.
And there's people on a bridge watching them. And they're all going under the bridge like... And he misjudges it completely and just goes straight into the bridge above the people, into the wall behind them, dead. It's a famous video. It's horrible.
Fuck.
Even just listening to it, you're like, oh, that's not good. It doesn't make a nice sound.
No, I bet.
Human, God knows how many miles an hour. straight into a wall.
Yeah.
I thought you'd be into that with all the things that I see you doing.
Nah. Like, couldn't think of anything worse. I don't know whether it's like a control thing or like when I'm on my bike, it's my bike. It's whatever I tell the bike to do.
Yeah.
But like, man, I get sick on a swing. Like if I go to a park and I just sit on a swing, like no, just I don't know what it is. Like fairground rides. Like I've been tricked into all kinds of like dumbass fairground rides, and they scare the crap out of me.
Did you get that when you were young though?
Nah, because I used to love roller coasters as a kid.
Do you know the swing?
Oh, nah, it's like absolutely fine.
I
like,
think it's
it
an
might,
age,
yeah, 100% it might be, but like, no,
Yeah.
just like through the years, I don't know what it is about like fairground rides or whatever. Nah, gives me the heebie-jeebies. And I've been tricked onto so many of them as well.
When me and the missus take the kids to the park now, we're older now, you don't realise until it happens that you go onto the roundabouts.
Yep.
They make you sick now. When you're older, the kids can fly around on a roundabout, but if you go on with them, it genuinely makes you feel sick, and it knocks you sick for a while as well. So I don't think I could do a backflip on a BMX, to be honest with you, mate.
I could teach you. I could teach you anything.
Yeah. So is this where you are now? Is that your new house?
This is the
That's
humble
all in
abode.
another video.
Yeah, this is. Yeah, you've probably seen it on a bunch of like a couple of TikToks. And we've got like a Instagram for the house as well.
Oh, really? Another one?
Yeah, another one. So we've got the house Instagram, my personal Instagram, and then obviously the missus got her Instagram. But yeah, we when we bought this house, we decided to do an Instagram on it just because it was such like an interesting build, an interesting buy, to be fair. Because we bought the house as a repossession, so the house was like complete. Car on the driveway, clothes in the wardrobe, like tools in the garage.
Really?
Oh yeah. Like the couple that lived in here, they moved in 1954. They paid the original bill of sale was like still somewhere in the house. We kept it. It was like 1,520 quid on like a 20-year mortgage. It was ridiculous. And yeah, they bought the house, lived in it from new. The gentleman passed away. I think it was like 2000, something like that. She carried on living in the house. She had a fall in 2018 and went into a care home, and then the house just got locked up and the house just stood. The bank obviously had equity in the house, so they were just selling the house to get the money back. And we'd wandered so I lived down the other end of the street with my folks for a few years, and obviously back and forwards visiting those as well. And I kept driving past the house, and then a for sale sign popped up, and I'm just like, right, let's make a phone call. Just made a phone call, come and had a viewing, and they were like, yeah, the house just comes like as it is, so whatever you see, you buy. So like the family's possessions from like 1954 up until like the present day, ended up like back and forward on a little battle with another guy that wanted the house. He was going to rent it. Obviously, I wanted it to live in. And yeah, like we finally got everything sorted out. We owned the house, and then I bought the house and walked into it and was like, fuck, there's a lot of shit in this house. So I had to clear a house before I could even think about doing like my own stuff to the house. But yeah, there was a Renault Kangoo disability vehicle on the driveway with like a tail lift on the back, and there was a stair lift as soon as you walked in the house. There was like 2 mobility scooters. And then obviously just stacks and stacks of photos. There was clothes, there was makeup, there was obviously all of his stuff that was in the wardrobe still. You name it, it was in this house. I've still got some stuff in the house now that we never got rid of. There was loads of war stuff. He was a tail gunner in World War II. So there was loads of photos, written reports. We found his journal, from where he'd been bombing, shooting, where he'd been. Found
That's amazing.
A German. Yeah, found when we were cleaning the understairs cupboard, me and my dad seen this little grey cylinder, and we're like, oh, I didn't know what it was. Just put it out, tucked it on the stairs, just left to it. A couple of hours later, cleaning another cupboard out, found this other piece, and I'm like, wow, it looks like it might fit on there. Turns out it was like a deactivated World War II German incendiary bomb that we just had like tucked in the understairs cupboard. We found like a 50 caliber round in the downstairs like drinks cabinet. Just the crazy stuff that we found in this house, and we've still got loads of stuff kicking around in here as well.
That's amazing. So I wish you didn't tell me all that, because I was going to make a joke about like, did you get the house from the 1980s? But because of the video that you made, it had loads of 80s stuff in the background.
Yeah, like the worst, like brown carpets and pink wallpaper.
So, you know the picture with the little boy?
Yeah.
It's a print in it, but it's made to look like an oil painting of a little boy holding a dog.
Yeah.
It's a famous drawing. It probably got a name because it's that. We had one of them, but in the 80s.
Like, so many people have been like, you need to get rid of that freaky thing. Like, it's fucking horrible walking into the front room and seeing it above the fireplace. And I'm like, nah, I'm kind of into it. So I'm like keeping it for as long as possible. But it's just on the chimney breast now. It's like part of the house is staying.
They were everywhere in the 80s. So where is it now? Where is that house? Did you say Northampton on your video?
Northamptonshire, yeah. Sunny Northamptonshire. So it's I needed
is
somewhere
that where
to
you're
live
from? Because I could never place your accent.
I knew that was coming. You're not the first person that said that.
Is that where you grew up?
Like Northamptonshire, born and bred. I think it's like with the accent, I've had it a few times because years ago when I was riding BMX all the time, literally sole job riding that silly little kid's bike. Traveled so much, like literally just couldn't keep me at home. It was anytime I had spare cash or fuel in the car, it was biking the car off to places like literally from top to bottom of the country, just staying on people's sofas, traveling around, riding like BMX contests or shows for companies. And I think I've just picked up a twang from absolutely everywhere.
Do you know what I thought it was? I thought it might be because I only watch you on social media. I've never chatted with you really properly, maybe once for half an hour the other night.
Yeah.
But I thought it was because you're such a performer on your videos. I thought you'd given yourself like an accent for that character.
No, 100%.
And you know, like the champions.
Yeah.
And I thought, is this a character?
No, like,
or is he real?
No, because like,
what, you real?
I don't have time to be anybody other than just Martyn Cooper. So like stuff like even with the champions.
Yeah, I gathered when
we had the phone call the other day when we were on the phone.
Yeah. Eventually.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah. So I gathered then because I was always like, is it a character?
Nah, 100. No,
but it's not. When I spoke to you, I was like, no, this is actually.
No, I don't have time to be anything other than myself. To be honest, it's like filming those TikToks. They're just filmed like I don't mess around with any editing. I just get straight in there, film it. If it goes tits up in the first recording, I don't even bother carrying it on. I'll just delete it and come back to it another day, or probably record it later on in the day if I've got some time.
Yeah.
I have people spend so much time. Yeah. Like, and if it doesn't work, then I'm not bothered about like trying to force a video. And I've got a hell of a roll of ones that have gone horrific, and there's mastic everywhere or a tube's exploded. So I'm sure they'll find their way to the internet at some point.
So we covered there your BMX and your TikTok. So I know you from TikTok for your masticing adventures. Is that what you call it, masticking? Do you call yourself a mastic man?
Yeah, if you want to get technical, we're sealant applicators. But yeah, mastic man.
Okay.
Yeah, get called a variety of things, but they don't always go along with the job.
So at your day job at the moment is mastic man, and you're self-employed. So can you just briefly tell us very briefly, because we'll go back to the BMXing thing in a minute, because I want you to tell me what you did when you were younger. But what you do on a day-to-day basis when people see you on TikTok. Are you working for a company, traveling around, always in the same place?
So to keep it short and sweet, I used to work for a firm and then decided that there's never a good time to disappear and start your own fuckery. So yeah, sacked it off. Now started my own firm. I doing everything from new builds to care homes. Loads of stuff, to be fair. There's obviously a massive range of stuff that we do. We used to stay for the firm I used to work for, used to stay pretty local, maybe an hour's travel from the house. But now that kind of went sideways when social media got around. And now I'm literally like top to bottom, left to right of the country, which is fun. I enjoy it.
Applying sealant all over.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So we'll get to that, right? So you grew up in Northampton or Northamptonshire.
Yep.
How did you end up being a Mastic man? So if you tell us about your BMXer days and your school days and
let's go. I can remember a good way back. So school was just school. It was one of them things that I had to attend to. It wasn't something that I massively enjoyed. I'd done well in all my subjects. I enjoyed what I was there to learn. But there was always something else. I was just fidgety. I always was thinking about the end of the day. And then it got to a point where I found BMX. I ended up like getting my first bike. I was like, right, I need to ride. This is something that I want to do. So I swapped my brother's basketball ring that he'd left behind the garage with a kid like 2 doors up because he had a BMX. I was just like, do you want this basketball ring? He's like, yeah, sounds. So we made a swap. It was a Townsend Hammerhead. It was like full chrome. It was the most disgusting bike you'd ever see. I'd probably break it in 5 minutes if I rode it these days. And got myself a BMX, rode that, broke it, bought new parts, broke those parts, bought new parts. And it was my dad that got me into like bikes and maintaining bikes and just looking after anything that you've owned or you've built. And it got to the point that like birthdays and Christmases, anytime your nans and your granddads were like, what do you want for Christmas? It was always bike parts. Couple of shops that I used to use, like Custom Riders Bike Shop and Cycle Sport. So I was there like every weekend I physically could to buy like some bike part. Just as it progressed, used to hang around my local skate parks. There was like Radlands, Eyes Lodge, and just riding with like local guys. And then there was always like it's same as in most sports. There's always like the older group of lads that have like been there and done that. So I used to kind of like hang around with them, and they taught me to ride. Then what would it have been? Like after that, like still riding, enjoying it, like couldn't think of any spare time, was just straight on the BMX. Had to be on the bike. Built ramps in my garden, built dirt jumps in the woods, skate parks, then obviously learned to drive, didn't I? Which opened up a whole new world. So as soon as I passed my test, I passed my test on the Friday, Saturday morning, loaded up the car. Me and a friend of mine, Crazy Dave, drove straight to Leeds for this skate park called Hyde Park, and it was a contest there, like a little local thing, Lambrini Jam. You just rock up, you rode BMX all day, you just drank Lambrini, went into town, had a sick night, and then just either slept in your car or like slept on someone's floor or sofa. And then that's kind of like when BMX started getting a lot bigger for me. So once you're traveling to new parks, and new people, you're riding with different people. And the more I rode, the more I enjoyed it. Then I never rode to get sponsored. I never rode to kind of get anywhere other than the enjoyment out of it. And then hung out with a guy called James Hitchcocks, became really good friends with him. He was a rider from London. And couple of BMX shows started, and he's like, do you want to come ride a BMX demo for the day? Yeah, no worries. Rocked up, rode a demo, started to get more people knowing all these bike shops and these companies and these people. And from then it was like, we're going to ride another show, or we're going on a road trip. The amount of road trips that I went on were ridiculous. The guy Hitchcocks had a van, just ring a bunch of guys and come pick us up, and we just go to Scotland for a long weekend, ride for 2-3 days, come home again. We traveled all over the place. And then eventually, there was a point where I had a day off. I was just chilling, made myself a cup of tea, phone rings, James Hitchcock on the end. And he's just like, do you wanna ride for a bike company? Like, we're gonna sponsor you. I was like, yeah, sure thing. So I ended up riding for a company called Mankind Bikes. I ended up riding for them for like probably the best part of 10 years. And then like clothing companies, shoe companies, bike shops. And then obviously because I was riding, I was sponsored, I just had to ride contests. So every other weekend it was jumping on a plane. I was in like Estonia, up and out to the States, like France. The company I rode for was a German bike company. So I was like always in Germany. Yeah, like it never ended. Like BMX took me in the most incredible places. And there's a guy on TikTok, Tom, who's a air conditioning engineer. I think that's probably what he's going to be referred to as. Like ended up getting to know that guy, and an incredible rider again from London, just the nicest people that you just bump into that all share the same passion, and all they want to do is just ride a bike and have a good time. Yeah, so like riding a kid's bike literally took me all over the world. Done stuff for TV shows, magazines, DVDs, recorded like BMX edits that are on the internet, and had a double page spread in Ride magazine. Like, yeah, that's kind of like the BMX side of things.
That's amazing. So what ages are we talking here? So when you got into it, when you actually
like I was probably
went professional. It's professional, isn't it? You're a professional.
Yeah, like so. Yeah, so I rode professional. What would I have been? Like 19, 20 years old, maybe a little bit younger.
So were you actually working before the guy called you and said, "Do you want to be a professional?" Were you working? And he like,
yeah, like
you said you had a day off, and
yeah, so like, because I rode so much and I loved BMX that much, I was like, I couldn't commit to a job. So for like, it must have been a good part of like maybe 8 years, all I did was just signed up to like 3 or 4 agencies in my local town. And they'd ring you up and be like, do you want to go and work in a warehouse Monday? Yeah, fine, go Monday. And they're like, do you want to come work on Tuesday? And I'm like, no, I'm going to go ride somewhere. So that was like an incredible side of things. I could just pick and choose the days that I wanted to either work or ride my bike. As long as I had money to feed myself, buy bike parts, and put fuel in the car, that was all I needed. And then obviously the more I rode at a professional level, obviously when you're winning contests, you get money out of it. Sponsors as well paying you. Still works to a degree. Obviously, like money in the UK for riding BMX was never amazing. So yeah, I still kind of, when I wasn't riding a contest or I wasn't riding, ring the agencies back up. And a couple of the agencies were like dead sound as well, like super on board with everything that I was doing. So yeah, I'll just ring up and I'll be like, not in today, or like I'm free Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, like book me in somewhere. So it was just a case of making sure I had enough money to do everything that I wanted to do.
Yeah. And when so just for people listening, and for me actually, when you say riding a BMX, is that doing stunts and a half pipe, or having a race, or what did it entail?
So it was always stunts. The racing side of BMX, there was just way too many rules and regulations for me. I like to be a bit of a free spirit and just kind of like do whatever the fuck I want to do that day. So yeah, like dirt jumps, you get like big trails videos in like the woods, tracks that you can race down, and then like skate parks. There's skate parks popping up all over the place, which was just jump in a car and just go ride a new skate park. Indoor skate parks, obviously there's loads of indoor skate parks popping up, and it's just kind of what I enjoyed, because there's no limit. Like if you want to turn up and have a really good session and everybody's vibing off everybody else, it's the sickest time in a park. Or even just, I used to just enjoy jumping on my bike and riding to the shop. Like that was the kind of enjoyment that BMX gave me. It didn't really matter what I was doing. But yeah, it's just a huge love for it. And with BMX, freestyle, as a lot of people call it, there's no rules and regulations. You just rock up and you do whatever the hell you want. You ride for as long as you want, and you go home or go to the pub or go to somebody else's house.
Yeah. And what are the competitions? Was there like any? Because I know it is actually in the Olympics now, or something similar is. Was there like any UK official championships, or was it all sponsors? Like, because I know those kind of things are generally like, like Red Bull. It probably wasn't Red Bull then, but that kind of thing.
They used to have a contest in London called Urban Games, which was sponsored by, if I remember correctly, Sprite. So you just turn it up, you're just living off Sprite drinks like for the whole weekend. So they had that. You had what the UK one was Backyard Jam. So they had like Hastings, Telford. Oh my god, they've all like slipped my mind. But yeah, so like Backyard Jam was the one of the big UK contests, which I got into as well. Rode quite a few of them. Oh, they had them at like Sheffield. Then obviously like a lot of smaller like bike companies and bike shops, they used to just kind of have skate park jams all the time. We used to go to Scotland all the time and just ride like a little BMX jam there. They used to give away like few bike parts as prizes, free bottle of Buckfast if you were having like a really good night there, which was that stuff's incredible. So yeah, like there's quite a bit, and obviously you said like with the BMX being in the Olympics, like so fortunate that even some of that I've been able to be part of. So I am outside of the little bit of BMX that I've been riding pro and the Mastic and all the other jobs that I've had. I am actually like a fully qualified British cycling coach, which is part of the Olympics. So I still coach now. I coach like every Tuesday at one of my local skate parks. And yeah, we done couple of other stuff for the Olympics, like we do with training. So I'm a coach. I've got a friend of mine that's a coach as well. So we teach kids of like all ages that want to get into BMX for whatever reason, whether they just kind of enjoy jumping on their bike or whether it's to get away from something, school, or you never know. But yeah, I did loads of stuff. Like BMX is just incredible. People think I'm just a mastic man.
Well, yeah. So you got up to, I think, 19 years of age before I interrupted. So what happened next? Like, what was next after BMXing? Because obviously you ended up doing what you're doing today. When did you stop being a professional BMXer?
How old would I have been? Well, say that like I still ride for companies now. But like no big bike brands anymore. But I'm just trying to think how long ago that would have been. Like I'm going to say mid-20s, late 20s.
How does a BMXer become a mastic man?
Oh well, unfortunate choices in life maybe. Well, I stopped riding. I never stopped riding BMX. I got to the point where I had to decide that I need a job. I need like a proper income, and I can't just cruise around on my bike all the time. So the sponsorships kind of slowed down. Still rode for a couple of local bike shops, but didn't ride as many contests. And then obviously started to work. Got really big into my cars, which is a drain on your bank account when you start building cars. But like work wise, so agency work lasted for long time, to be fair, because it was just easy. I could pick and choose. Simple stuff like worked in a couple of warehouses. Worked in a warehouse. My dad got me the job. My dad gave me the job. He was one of the guys, a chemicals company. So I was like driving a forklift there. I think I drove a forklift and ran the warehouse for 5 years. Worked for a printer company. I was a printer engineer, like decommissioning machines for like Lloyd's and Nationwide and all these big bank accounts. That was all over the country as well, from like literally from Scotland to Penzance. And then so that was, what would that have been? Maybe about 10 years ago, 8 years ago. Got pulled into a meeting and they were like, look, we're moving locations. You can either, if you're in this certain radius, you can either take your redundancy or you have to move with the job. Like I was like 0.7 of a mile outside the ring. And I was like, fuck it. Like, give me the redundancy. Like, I'm out of here. So I got a chunk of redundancy out of that. And part sensible Martyn decided to chuck half of that in the bank account. The other half, the not so sensible Martyn, decided that, yeah, let's just piss this up the wall. Like, I'm going to have 6 months off. And I just dragged the bike out the garage and went back on just a BMX tangent all over the place. Was up in Scotland, was in London, was in Wales, like you name it, just jumped in my car and just fucked off pretty much. And done like, I think it must have been a good few months of just traveling around, riding my bike, just hanging out with people, and then came back. And a friend of mine, who I was talking to one evening, and he's just like, look, I said, I need to get a proper job again, might just jump back on the agency. And he said, there's a job going at the place I work. So I was like, okay, it's like sound, like, let me know who I need to speak to, and I'll make some phone calls. So he gives me the number. Anyway, like, I got the job there. Like 2 weeks later, fucking quit, didn't he? He left me. He ended up going and working for another Mastic company. And I was there for 5-6 years, in-house training. But again, like, me being me has to push myself. So I didn't just kind of want to rock up and just plod through day to day. So I was like, what do I need to do? I need to be good. I'm never going to be the best. There's always someone better than you. But I was like, I need to be fucking good at this. So I just got my head down, learned everything I could from everybody in the company that had got experience. Word got around that I had enjoyed my job, like quality. I tried to leave the shit and the fuckery on site for somebody else to deal with, but I seemed to be a bit of a magnet for that because, again, they knew that I'd fix it and I'd do the best that I could. And then, obviously, all these sites got word who I was because I'd done work on their site agents, contracts managers, directors. And then all these other sites started asking for me, and then I was getting work. Like, so they're ringing up, and where they've got like 20 lads, 25 lads that worked for this firm, they were always like, "Oh, can I have mine?" And then, so I'm going off on a right tangent here. The couple of years passed. The guy that got me the job ends up coming back to the company, and like, we're on the phone every day. We're just talking, putting the world to rights, as everybody does. And I was just like, yeah, I think I might go on my own, make a start, see what happens. Which brings us to the present day. 2 weeks before Christmas, decided to hand my notice in, sweet talk my mate to come with me, start my own firm, and I've literally been flat out like a badger on the bypass for the last couple of months. I am busy.
Yeah, and that's where TikTok comes in, but we'll get to that. But if you don't mind, for people listening, because I don't think people realise, or I certainly didn't. So, applying sealant and mastic men and mastic women and mastic companies, or what are they, like sealant companies? It's actually a big business. Can you explain to people what those companies, what they're like, and how many people work there? Because I think a lot of people, because it's something that a lot of people probably do themselves in their own bathroom, and it's a pain in the arse. And if you speak to tilers, a lot of their tilers don't like doing it. And then some tilers will say, I just get a mastic man because they're so good at it. But I never realised how big that industry actually is. So can you just explain to people what those companies are like?
So there's loads of companies. To name drop, well, not even companies, just mastic guys. There's loads of one-man bands. There's loads of big companies. I say the company I used to work for, they had like 20, 30 lads on the kit. There's other companies that are slightly smaller, 5 or 10. But there's loads of, I don't want to say one-man bands. It sounds a bit degrading. Just guys that are just fucking good at what they do, and they just get out there and smash it. So you've got LFR Sealant. You've got Cobra Sealants as well. Like, those guys are next level. Like, their work is incredible. But like, as you like, going back to what you said about like the plumbers and the tilers masticing, so they're good at their job, which is tiling. And it's not very often I've seen a tiler that's good at putting tiles on the wall and silicone around the bath. Not when he's just gunned it in. It looks like a string of pearls. He spits on the end of his finger and he rubs it. Like that probably works for his missus, but that don't work in your 10 grand bathroom. And but like, so with that, yeah, like so many people, like I've got a friend of mine, like he does full bathroom refits, and he's just like, when a customer spends this much money on their bathroom, they do not want me on my hands and knees covered in silicone scraping it out from around the bath. Like they want it to look good, like, because you shouldn't know that a mastic man has done the ceiling. Like everything should be color matched. You don't put a bright white bead up a big grey bathroom or black around a pink bath. Like you make sure that disappears. And now it's a trade. There's an MVQ in it. Obviously, you've got to know what sealant goes where. You can't put an outside sealant in a swimming pool, or there's certain stuff that goes in certain places. There's a company in Bristol that now have I think it's a college course, so you can go there and they'll teach you the basics of what you need to do. And yeah, like it is a big thing. And I know a lot of people, like I get a few comments on TikTok and Instagram of people being like, oh, well, I'm a window fitter and I seal my own windows. Like on a building site, everybody has their own trade and their own place in the food chain. The window fitter goes in, we go behind them, seal the windows. The bathroom fitters go in. Tilers, we go in, do those. Internal windows, the kitchens, like the tiled and vinyl floors. Sometimes it's just to be pleasing on the eye. We got a nice crisp bead of white or grey around the floor. Sometimes it's because the tiler has done a piss poor job, and you've got to kind of, then I have to come in and get us both paid. I've got to do a big enough bead to cover whatever mess that he's left behind. Kitchen fitters fitted a wall unit on the piss. Just Mastic Man will sort that out. But yeah, it's becoming a trade, and there's some incredible people in it. One thing that I love hearing is like people's mastic stories. Like that shit makes my day. I'll tell you one quick. So I bumped into a guy on site. He knew nothing about social media, like way too old for that kind of stuff. And he was like, oh, Mastic Man. He's like, I love your work. And he stood there watching. We had a bit of a chat. And he's like, oh, I've been in the game like 50 years. He said, I can lay bricks. I can plaster. He's like, I can fit a kitchen. I can hang a door. And I was like, all right. And he goes, one thing I can't do. He went, mastic. I went, I had a bad experience, have you? Oh, he says, have I ever, boy? He says, the missus asked me to do the basin. He said, it was like a 1 metre basin. He said, I used a whole tube of silicone. He said, I've got 3 bog rolls full of like excess mastic. He said, finally got it to a point that I was happy with it. He said, I got it like absolutely everywhere. He said, it was perfect. He said, I tidied up. Really happy. He said, I rewarded myself with a beer. He said, I sat in the conservatory. I cracked open this beer. The dog walks past. And I was like looking at him like a bit, the what? And he's like, the dog walked past. Clearly been in the bathroom and sat down. Got a massive lump of mastic stuck to its arse. He's like, so once I'd finished my beer, I had to spend another hour cutting the hair off the back of my dog's ass because it was covered in silicone. Oh, mate, I was dying. I just love people's mastic stories because nobody in all the years, like nobody's ever just rocked up and been like, oh, I sealed my bath and it looks really good. Everybody's got a horror story with mastic.
Yeah, it's really difficult to do. It's one of them things where you can do it, anybody can do it, but to do it well and not make a mess is fucking difficult. And to do it like you guys do it when you see some of your videos and some of the other guys' videos, that is a pure skill. There's a lot of skill involved in making that look so good.
Oh, like massively. So the firm that I used to work for, we had a couple of trainees, and it sounds a little bit bad, I suppose, but if someone like rocks up and they've had a week on the gun, like learning, they do the basic stuff. You can pretty much tell if someone's gonna take to it or not. I was pretty lucky. I'm one of them people that I set my mind to. I was making it happen. But yeah, absolutely loved it. Still love it now, but like learning, like the amount of companies and colors when it comes to materials as well. so many people just think it's white and clear which goes in your bathroom, but when you've got other companies, there's companies out there making like 50 or 60 different colors for your bathroom and 50, 60 different colors for outside, all your different window colors and companies. It's there's quite a bit involved to it.
Yeah, and I've heard you talk about this before, but I've heard this before as well. And sometimes it's a joke, and sometimes I think there's a bit of seriousness in there when people say that what you do isn't a trade.
Oh yeah, the old fake tradee. That stuck to the point that I had to get a sticker made because everyone was like, "Yeah, so many people just don't believe it." Because again, it goes back to that thing where, like, years back, the plumber fit your bath, come back and seal your bathtub. The window fitters do the windows. The kitchen fitters do the kitchens. But yes, somewhere down the line, like, clearly somebody's come in and done a really good job, and he's just gone, right, this is solely all I'm going to focus on. But yeah, so many people, even now, like, I still get comments being like, people that haven't seen some of my stuff on TikTok, and they're like, so you do this like 5-6 days a week? And I'm like, yeah, just wake up, just seal shit Monday to Friday. But it's like any job, I suppose. Like, you just turn up and do it. Like, I don't think it's not a trade, or it's my job. I just turn up and do it like any other job that I've ever had.
Yeah, I don't think it's your job anymore. And obviously it pays the bills, but I think it's something that you can do to do the other thing that I think will actually be your job, if it isn't already, but we'll get to that. So do you currently work alone, or is it just you and your partner still from the original days?
Just me and a buddy of mine. Just us two. We're not here to take part, we're here to take over. That's kind of it's just our thing at the minute. Like, we just want to get in there and get stuck in, but
yeah,
it got out of hand quickly. Like, TikTok really did a number on me, and there's work all over the place now.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. So my next question would have been like, and I know you don't, but how do you get the work? Do you advertise? And I know the answer, but tell us anyway.
Yes, to a degree. I'm still like a massive believer in word of mouth. So when I left my previous job, there was a big, I'm going to say a big developer, and they were like, "Oh, we'll give you this site. Like, you finish this site off, we'll give you this contract. You can finish these houses off, 30 houses." Okay, yeah, fine, no problems at all. And then they were like, "Oh, well, we've got another site starting in wherever it might be, like Cambridge or Huntingdon, like Kettering. Do you want to have a look at that?" Yeah, no worries at all. It's another 100 or so houses, no problem. And then obviously all of these companies and directors and site agents as well obviously knew who I were, and they follow my Instagrams and they follow my TikToks. So the odd messages come out, or they've got in contact with another agent that I'm working for. I don't like to use the phrase house bashing, which is new builds. Like, we've seen the snagging videos, and we've seen all the other TikTok people that have posted up stuff from new builds. Like, it's not amazing. Like, you do have to overcome some shit. There's no nice way of putting that. But then on the back of that, because people know that I've got pride in my work and I want to do the best I can, smaller developers have contacted me. I've recently just been to do a job in Wales for a company, DJC Build. And that was like, a couple of the guys that were working in this place knew me from TikTok. And they were like, "Oh, we need a Mastic man. We've got some flooring, we've got some windows, the bar, loads of stuff to do." And like, my name got mentioned, and they were like, "No, never in a million years is he going to like drive to Wales and do this like massive place right on the beach." Gets this message, doing this job in Wales, like, just wondered if you'd be interested to kind of like come and help. Loads and loads of flooring to do, and like a reception area and a bar and a restaurant. And I was just like, fuck yeah, I want some of that. I was like, let's see if we can build something from this. So rocked up there, like had a blast, was there for 3 days, like everything was perfect, none of this stuff that you have to deal with on site, like all the rooms were clean, everything was ready that you needed, you just turned up, had a walk around, made a plan, and just got stuck straight into it. Off the back of that, more work. I've got to go back there in a couple of weeks to do some stuff there. And then again, like TikTok again, can you come and do a bathroom for me? I don't mind doing some of the smaller jobs, like that's not a problem. And then so that was TikTok as well. So I did some stuff up in York for a care home, and the guy contacted me on, I think, commented on one of my videos on TikTok, and I was like, either message me on Instagram, like I'll give you my number. Had a few phone calls, like just a super sound guy. He's just like, look, just turn up, whatever you need to do, like let's make it work. So this was like quite some time ago. Turned up there, did a load of stuff at the care home, and that just like blossomed into another kick-ass relationship with somebody. And once again, found out that I was going on my own. Straight on the phone. We've got loads of care homes. Like, come up here, do what you need to do. Invoice me, you're paid. I'm like, this is the kind of stuff that I'm really enjoying now. So yeah, just like in these care homes, the stories of like just being in these care homes, even though I'm in there just as a Mastic man. So a lot of these are like elderly residents, like some dementia and Alzheimer's. And the guy, my friend who's working with me, he's his own legend, but like he does not know how to deal with being in a care home with like loads of old dears that just got the craziest minds. And like last week we were in this care home and he picks up the box of Mastic. We're going down to do next corridor. Picked up the Mastic guns and the bottle of Pixie Piss, and he's like, right, let's go. And I wandered off and I'm like, I can't hear him behind me. Turned around. He's pinned in the corner by this 80-year-old lady getting tickled. Oh my, like I'm laying on the radio at this point, like the tears are rolling down my face. I just didn't know what to do. I was in no fit state to help him. And he just stood there, straight faced, freaking out, getting tickled under the arms by this like 80-year-old lady. Finally had to go and rescue him and just carried on about the day. But like, there's so much enjoyment. Like at the minute, like the alarm goes off in the morning and I'm up and I'm ready and I've got a coffee and I've had my breakfast and he's either coming to collect me in the work van or I'm going to go get him. And like, what an amazing, like I'm just so buzzing on waking up in the morning and going to work. Like super happy. And who would have thought? It's not even a trade.
Yeah. So the types of the two different types of thing that you do, as far as I'm aware, and it's more than two, but I classify it as two: house bashing, and then whatever the other kind of stuff is, which is like private builders or not. Can you just explain to people what the difference between house bashing and the job in Wales that you went to that was not house bashing, but it was really good to work with? What's the difference?
So the term that gets thrown, house bashing, literally is like everybody's seen these new build snagging videos. This shit gets churned out. They hoof these houses up fucking the quick time. Again, like it depends if somebody needs a bonus or they've got to get some houses done to get passed for people to have the CML, for them people to move in and get their mortgages. House bashing side of it is literally just building sites, big developers, which I'm not going to name because a lot of people already live in them. We just turn up, we seal them externally, we seal them internally, we do all the floors, make it look lovely. That's a house bash. They want everything weeks ago. I was always told it's better to be on time and wrong than late and correct. Snagging, not an issue. Once that customer's in there and they've got your money, they'll snag the shit out of your house. They'll send painters in there. They'll send tilers. They'll send chippies. Whatever you need. As long as you're in that house, the money's done, that's a house bash. Like, they do get churned out in next to no time. And then you've got some of the smaller developers, probably only build anywhere from maybe 5 to 10 houses a year. Some on the bigger scale, some slightly smaller, but just quality. Everything's good. All the craftsmanship they've got, and with a lot of the smaller builders as well, they've got their bunch of trades that they use. So I've recently been on the phone to a guy, another small developer, only builds a handful of houses a year, and he was like, "I've got a bricklayer, like a bricky gang." He's like, "I've got chippies, I've got everybody that I need, plasterers." He said, "The only thing I don't have is a mastic man. Would you be happy to join part of the team?" I was like, "Yeah, 100%. Like, let's get a few in, see how things go, and go from there." But yeah, like the houses are clean when he asks you to turn up. Like the tiles finish at the bath, the windows are in the correct size hole. Like you're putting minimal mastic round to do a good job. Like not like some of the shit that people watch me where I'm banging 30 mil round a door and it looks like King Kong's finger. And I'm just tooling it up with the biggest piece of wood that I've got in the back of the van. But again, the door's in, it needs to be sealed. They've got to get the house through whatever test it needs to be done. Be alright. Mastic man will fix it. Just gun 30 mil around that door. You go to a small developer, there's none of that stuff. Like I laid 6 to 8 mil around the whole of this job in Wales, pretty much. There was the odd thing, but yeah, there's just more pride. And again, like if we do maybe a bathroom for somebody, the tiler that's been in there has been in there and done a good job. He's not turned up on site and they've said, how long's that bathroom going to take you to tile? And he's like, about 3 days. And they're like, great, I need it in a day and a half. Like, that ain't, like, you're going to be able to climb the wall in that bathroom in boxing gloves. Like, those tiles ain't going on the wall well, are they? So yeah, that's how I'd look at house bashing to a smaller private builder or somebody with a little bit of pride in their work.
Yeah, I had the same conversation, but we were talking about manufacturing, and then we went on to new houses and why manufacturing has died in this country, and that I was saying it's mainly down to greed, and he was debating with me to say, oh, it's because things are made in other countries, and we got on to, when it is a little bit, but in my opinion, that's not the only reason. It's to do with investment and people caring and not being too greedy. And we got on to new build properties, and it was a similar discussion. We know the poor, everybody knows the poor, and everybody knows why, like for all the things that you've just said. And ultimately, and it's not the people that are working on them and the people that work for these companies, it's not their fault, because further down the chain, the higher up the chain you go, and it can even get to the board, and even above the board, shareholders, whatever. It's greed, and because they want it done so quick, and with such a specific margin, or they don't want to invest in training and getting the right people in. So all the good people, like you say, the really good people, they don't work there. They do their own thing because they're not as greedy, and actually they're probably making as much, if not more, money because they're doing their own thing and doing quality and getting paid for it, because people know they're good, so they're paying them what they're worth.
Well, off the back of that, you've with obviously it is a massive greed thing. So from what I've learned over the years, again, they have they have points in the year where they're like, right, we need to get this many houses done for completion. And rather than saying that's say 20 houses, rather than them not being complete and saying, oh, well, we can only do 15, they will make that 20 happen. But sometimes they have to scatter that 20 over a couple of different developments to make that number happen. Not all sites are bad. Like, not all site agents just gallop in on their horse of zero fucks and just throw a house up and just call it done. Sit back at the end of the day, say they've done a good job. Like, I've worked for some incredible site agents, and you go up and you have a word and you're like, right, this needs to be sorted out. They will get it sorted out. And then you've got other ones that are just kind of like, it's cheaper to just pay you to just get in there and bang a load of mastic around it. Like, we'll just go with that option. But yeah, like, again, in like all the different trades and site agents and contracts managers, there's good ones and there's bad ones. Again, there's ones that just want to churn the work out, there's ones that don't. But then even when I was house bashing, there's lads there that, again, probably a 50-50. There's lads there that house bashing. It's always somebody else's problem. Like, you go fit a shit kitchen, or you go like do the worst bathroom going. This guy will sort it out. The next trade, like, shit rolls downhill, and it normally stops when it gets to the Mastic man, because he's the guy that's got to cover everybody else's stuff up. This is like somebody said to me years ago, I am the guy that gets all the other trades paid. Like, if they're rough, I am the guy that comes in and makes it look good. Whether it's a 30mm bead or a 3mm bead, like, I've got to make it look good. And being in the firm that I used to work for, I always had that mentality still. So even if I turned up and done a work and the work wasn't great that I was presented with, I done my best to leave it how I'd want it when I went home.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you get work through your TikTok, not necessarily advertising. I say this to a lot of people who I talk to, right? And I do think you're a little bit different, and I'll get on to why. But when I speak to tradesmen, tilers, whoever, builders, whatever they do, I always say to them, the best advice, and it's not even advice from me, it's just something that I see other people doing that works. To get work, do any kind of social media. Instagram, TikTok seem to be the two that do it the most. Record your work, make sure it's you, and they create their own reputation. And then what I find, and when I speak to good tilers and good lads, customers see their work like your customers saw your work, and they ask specifically for that person, so they'll wait. When you do things like this, and the number of people that I speak to say, just get on TikTok. You don't have to be like you are, which is a little bit different. All you need to do is a before and after. Show people what you're doing. Maybe talk over it, maybe not, but talking over it, at least you're showing, you're putting yourself out there, and people are getting to know you, and you're creating your own reputation. And actually, you no longer have to compete with cowboys, because there is no real way for a customer to know if, when they get some quotes in, was that guy a cowboy, and was that guy really good? I don't know. The prices seem about the same, so let's just go with the cheaper one. Whereas if you got yourself onto TikTok or Instagram and built up a reputation for yourself, I speak to so many lads now, they're only busy through TikTok. All their customers are through TikTok because they see, I don't know, a bathroom that you've done somewhere with a particular feature or whatever. They want the same thing or something similar, so they'll wait for you. And because you've got, I don't know, 100,000 followers or however many followers you've got, they trust. Because if you do something wrong, or if you rip somebody off, your brand is now your social media, and you'll get found out. So I explained about a guy that I know who's local to me. What he's actually been chased by about 14 different people for fraud, and what he keeps doing is changing his business name, doing a Facebook advert. Nobody really knows who he is. Getting a few jobs, finishing those jobs or not finishing those jobs. He's obviously not finishing some of them because 14 people are suing him for fraud. And then what he'll do is, if he gets some good reviews, which he does now and again, he subs it out. So I think he gets lucky. He might sub it out to a really good lad or good bathroom fitter or whatever. So then he gets some good reviews, and then he'll use those reviews in his next advert. And if he doesn't get any good reviews, he changes the fucking company name, and he'll move on.
That's
he's actually
sneaky.
He's in another city at the moment. But yeah, so my whole point is, if you're on social media, it's almost word of mouth, but in such a massive scale that and it's obviously you. You can't keep changing your name. You're explaining to potential customers why you've done a certain thing and why this product's needed or why it costs a bit more. And then literally everyone I speak to a lot of people from social media. They've got 3, 6, 12 months worth of jobs through customers who have said, listen, I'll wait for you, because they know they can trust you because of you've put yourself out there. And then I speak to a lot of other blokes who aren't even on social media. They'll use the product that I sell, and they won't post photos and they won't post videos, mainly because they're worried about feedback from other traders. And it's not even feedback from other traders would be great. They're worried about getting the fucking piss took out of them by other traders, because you know what it's like, or it can be like on social media.
I 100% see where you're coming from with this. So I never wanted anything to do with TikTok. So I'll give you a little. Originally, everything was Instagram for me. Like, I've just been Instagram and Facebook, and before then it was MySpace and Bebo. Like, we just went with the originals. Instagram was all of my cars, all of my bike stuff. That was kind of
sorry.
Like, where
can I go back on? Were you doing what you do on Bebo? Were you doing what you do on Bebo now, or you were just a Bebo user?
I was just I don't. Bebo was the whole cars and BMX side of things, exactly the same. Like, I think MySpace, my actual MySpace page is probably still active, to be fair. And there'll be a picture of like maybe a Mark IV Golf or a Polo or a Lupo or something that I've owned, and there'll be a BMX photo on there. It'll be me traveling somewhere. Like, oh yeah, like I used and abused every platform. But I think on TikTok and off of TikTok, I don't change. There's no image that I jump on the internet and I start like, oh, this is me on TikTok. That's me 24/7. It's just how I am. The things that I come out with, the way I word things, the way I work, that is just 100% me. And it was during lockdown that I had a message from somebody on my Instagram just saying, you need to get on it. You need to get on TikTok. And I'm like, fuck, I couldn't think of anything worse. Like, that's just full of like little fucking Weasley kids dancing to Justin Bieber songs in their bedrooms. Like, I do not want no part of that shit. Like, I'm not getting involved. And then anyway, like, lockdown had nothing better to do with my time. So I was like, right, let's see what this TikTok shit's about. Downloaded the app, wasted like a good 3 hours of my life. I learned how to like bake a cake, hang a door, mow the lawn, like build a rocket. Like, I learned the craziest shit in a couple of hours. And then I'm like, let's give it a whirl. And he just said, be you. And I'm like, I'm not sure whether the rest of the world's ready for me. Posted a couple of videos and they went nuts. Again, people being like, oh, this isn't a real trade. And I had all of that. But yeah, I think people enjoy the side of me is there's no ifs, buts and coconuts. Everything's just down the middle. I don't mix my words. They get what they see. I do as much as I can to help people out. Like, I don't want to say I'm a yes man, but if I'm there and I can do something, I will get it done. Like, even if it's not part of my job and I can do it and I can help somebody out, it still gets done. But yeah, like, it's just one of those, you said, with the reputation. Like, people do say, oh, well, I'll hold out for this guy. I've had loads of people message me being like, oh, I'll hold out, or like, oh, I can wait, it's not a problem at all, which is nice. Or you've got people have been like, oh, speak to this guy, give him your number, and I've gone and done jobs, and they have no idea of social media. Like, they've never seen my TikToks of me effing and jeffing and seeing some of the stuff that I have to overcome. But I turn up, I do a good job, I present myself as I do, and they're happy. Oh, I'll pass your number on to somebody else. Oh, that's absolutely great. Like, thank you very much. With your thing of like the whole negative feedback, this is one thing that I'm so stoked about. On all of my videos that I've posted on TikTok, it is very rare that somebody comes on there and chats shit or abuses what I've done, because I'm not there to say like this is the only way to do it, like a lot of stuff is on TikTok. Like, I just turn up and I just go about my day and people get an insight in it. Like, some of them are going to learn, some of them want to learn some of the stuff, some of them don't, some of them just want to have a little bit of a laugh at some of the shit that I've had to deal with. But yeah, like, I've never really had a huge amount of negative feedback, but I'm very open. Like, I don't take that personally. You can write what you want on my page. Like, I'm not going to go to bed and sleep any different. Like, I'm going to sleep like a log. at the end of the day, you've been on my page, you have watched my video, you have interacted. So whether it's good or bad, couldn't care less. Thank you very much for watching it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, just there's a like, I don't follow I follow a lot of people on Instagram, but I don't follow a lot of people on TikTok because, one, I don't want to spend hours watching shit, but I only follow people that I think are similar to myself. Turn up, do a good job, straight down the middle. That's the kind of stuff that I enjoy. There's a lot of people that go on there and perform, and they've got to have an amazing video, or their makeup's got to be right, or their teeth have got to be pearly white, or you ain't wearing a huge amount. Like, people wouldn't want to come on my TikTok and see me doing that kind of stuff. I think they like me for just, do you know what I mean? Just being raw.
Yeah, it's genuine, and this is why I always try and say to people, it's like, just, you don't have to. You are actually different, you personally, but they could use you as an example. It's just a genuine. If you strip everything away from it, because I think there's lots of extra with your stuff, but if you strip it all away, it's just a bloke doing a good job and explaining to people how he does it. Obviously, you offer more than that, but when I'm speaking to tilers and bathroom fitters and kitchen fitters and whatever, I'm saying to them, just start a TikTok or start an Instagram. Start something and start showing people what you do. It's like, it's a few minutes a day. All the apps are free, and there's no other way. There's no advertising agency. There's no organisation. There's fuck all that can prove how good you are more than you can do it yourself. Versus cowboys and people who just rip people off. There is nothing else. You can pay for whatever you want. You can pay for any of these companies that do the advertising. You can pay for any organisation, I don't know, tile organisation, kitchens, bathrooms. They're not going to help you as much as you can help yourself. And
100%.
It's social media. It's always social media.
But you don't realise, like, how far social media spreads, and how many people, like, know what you do. So, there's a guy, Cobra Sealants, who I follow on Instagram. Love his work. Like, just such a super humble dude. Like, always got time to help people as well, which I find absolutely amazing. And that's kind of like what I do in my videos. Like, my TikToks, I don't want to just be like, right, well, this is what I do for a job. Like, I want to help you. I want to give you the resources. Like, I want to be able to be like, right, we'll speak to this company or speak to this guy. This is a good product. I like it. This is not so much of a great product. Like, it might be really fucking hard for you to seal a bathroom with this stuff. It's like putting on shampoo. Like, just don't fucking touch it. Trying to give everybody the information. And somebody posted a little while back being like, oh God, like, all you do is just give all of our trade secrets away. And I'm like, but how else do people learn? Like, some people don't have the money to afford a Mastic man or even a tiler. Some people just want to do that stuff themselves. Like, I tiled my own bathroom. It's because I have ridiculous OCD, and like, I know somebody had put a tile in the wrong place and it'd wind me up because I've got to shower and look at it, or sit on the toilet and look at this like dodgy tile that they fitted. Like, no, 100%. Give people like some information, but like, you just with it expanding. The guy, Cobra Sealants, his kids, or like his teenagers, apparently, like, they've both seen me. Somebody that works with like my missus, she was sitting in the staff room and all she heard was, yes, champions, how we doing? Let's see what fuck. And like, my missus is sat there being like, you fucking serious? This is, who's that? And then my friend that lives down south finishes work, goes around to his girlfriend's house, walks in, like, her little brother's like 15, sat at the dining room table. All he hears is my voice. Like, dude's like 300 miles away from me, and all he hears is me just chatting shit. And he's like, who the fuck are you listening to? Oh, I'm listening to this well funny guy like Martyn Cooper, and he's on TikTok. And he's like, oh, for fuck's sake. Gets his phone out, rings me, and he's like, you'll never guess what? Like, I'm round the missus' house and our little brother's like watching you on TikTok. Like, yeah, like the craziest places. So obviously I've got my T5 personal BMX number plate on it. I booked some time off work. I've posted a couple of TikToks about my about my van and my cars and stuff that I build. Anyway, early morning, we were going on holiday. We were going down south. I think it was was a couple of years back, a good year or so back. Mrs. in the van, she's fast asleep. We're cruising down the dual carriageway. We're heading down past Andover. It's like 7:30 in the morning. This van comes up by the side of me, like a little small white van with something like electricals written on the side of it. And I'm like, fuck, this dude overtakes me. And I'm like, what is this guy doing? Overtakes me, slows down, pulls back out, slows down, like looking at me. And I'm like, fucking hell. Like thinking it's a bit early for this kind of stuff. Anyway, like he pulls in front of me, slows down. I indicate, go past, cruise down the road like a couple more miles. See this van pull out, cruises back to the side of me. Dude in the passenger side's hanging out the window, like window down, phone in his hand, pointing at his screen, being like, I fucking knew it was you. And this was like 7:30 in the morning, just like two young lads in this van. Gets to where we're going. The missus wakes up and was like, what was all that laughing and stuff that I heard? And I'm like, oh, just two guys driving past Andover, hanging out the window of their work van, like clearly seen me, watched my videos. But yeah, like I've travelled some places, like whether it just be for work or like my own private stuff on a weekend, or like going to a show or whatever, and people bump into me and be like, "You're the guy off TikTok," and I'm like, "Fuck, yeah, I am. I'm sorry about that." And they're like, "Nah, love your videos. Like, Mrs. started watching your videos, and yeah, like just it's amazing what the power of social media does."
Yeah, it's hundreds and thousands and millions of eyes, of pairs of eyes, rather than from a trader's point of view, a few hundred people word of mouth in your local area. They don't know how good you are, but when you've got millions and millions of people looking at you, you can prove how good you are. I'll get to it, but I keep saying it. You're a little bit different, but as a tradesman, if you can prove how good you are and what you can offer, you actually might end up making more money as well. But from your perspective, right, social media, you are different, right? If you're still a Mastic man in 3 years' time, I'll be amazed. Or if you may be doing it, but it won't be your main source of income. You might be doing it just for the content, just so you can get some content. Because you naturally, and you've just said it, you only ever be yourself. You bring something else to that is beyond a tradesman. Are you aware of this?
Nah, like I've never thought about it like that. It's probably just the way that I've just been raised. I don't know, like.
Well, you just proved it yourself by somebody's kids were watching. Somebody's kids aren't watching it because they think you're good at fucking applying sealant. Somebody's kids are watching it because you're funny.
Well, yeah, like I see where you're coming from. So years, literally when I first started TikTok, I've probably done a handful of videos, the normal shit. Company called Sealant Supplies messaged me, and I was like, oh, fucking hell, here we go. Thinking, because I don't take any payment from anybody. Like, I'll take your products, fucking send me products all day long. Like, that shit could turn up at my house 5 days a week. I'll use them and I'll tell people what I think about them. But I'll not get paid. Like, I've turned a few things down from TikTok, being like, we'll pay you to do this advert for this, or we'll pay you to use this product. And I'm like, fucking don't want anything to do with it. Like, I've learned that years ago, like, nah, it's not happening. So Sealant Supplies were like, can we send you some stuff? I said, yeah, fuck it, why not? What is it? They were like those little trim tools just for like tooling off Mastic. And they were like, and I was like, yeah, what do you want me to do with it? They were like, we'll send them free of charge. Just have a go. Like, if you want to do a video, post something up. So I just wrote back. I remember the message. I just wrote back being like, it won't be like a review that you possibly want. It'll be a review as me using a product. And they replied with, you just do you. And I'm like, fucking game on. Like, let's go for it. Had a day, smashed all my workout, left one kitchen. I'm like, right, let's have a go on these trim tools. Got the trim tools out, done a video, posted it on TikTok, sent it to them. They were like, fucking amazing. Like, thanks very much. Loved the video. They were like, can we send you like something for doing the video? I'm like, I don't want anything. Like, we'll just leave it at that. Next day, wakes up, got an email. Look, we're just going to send you a gift card. for renovating the house, like if you need paint or whatever for doing this house, because they followed my Instagram for personal and for the my house one. They were like, we're going to send you a gift card of like half the money that we've just made from these trim tools. And I was like, fucking great, I'm going to get a $5. Anyway, got this like Amazon gift card with a chunk of money on it, because again, people had seen me use the product, they'd got an honest review, like it works for if you're just doing a kitchen or a bathroom. That was that. They sent me a Mastic gun. They were like, you know what to do. Chatting backwards and forwards on Instagram, like just such a great bunch of guys. Had a Mastic gun, same review. They sold some of them. Like, I don't want anything for it, like, because I'm doing my bit for the people. And then, like, now,
no, but yeah, so loads of guys that I speak to, right, like you, and I genuinely think you're one of the naturally one of the best. I don't even know. I couldn't even say. I know I say you won't be a Mastic man in 2 to 3 years' time, but I couldn't say what you will be. But it won't be a Mastic man. It'll be something
challenge
along
accepted.
the lines of entertainment. Well, I really do think it will be. You know, like some people say, "Oh, you'll be on the TV." I don't even think being on the TV is good as a goal anymore, because entertainment now is social media, and people don't like it. They don't like hearing it. But TikTok is fucking huge. It's massive. It's not just a shitty app like we both thought it would be at the beginning to watch stupid people dancing, whatever. It's pure. It's entertainment, and unfortunately, if you can like it or you don't like it, people use it for entertainment, and it's a legitimate way to make a fucking living. So when you say, I don't want any money, I would say, don't fucking say that. You should get paid. You're creating content that people enjoy. You're funny, you're entertaining, it's insightful, it's people follow you for a reason. If you can legitimately make money from that, and the people that follow you probably wouldn't have a problem with it because it's entertainment. They don't have a problem with paying Netflix or whatever, Sky or whatever. And you're creating entertainment for them as long as you're being genuine, and I know you always do, and that's what you've just explained. Even when you try a product out, it's genuine. They'll keep watching it. And if a company wants to pay you for doing that, fill your fucking boots, mate. And I say this to so many people, and they're like, oh, and it's a very British thing, in my opinion. If in America they'd say, yeah, I'll do an advert. What do you want me to say? How much are you going to pay me? And it's just way more accepted. But I think sometimes in this country they're like, oh, it's a little bit. I don't really want to do that because is that on the take? Am I on the take? And you're like, fucking hell, mate. It's a legitimate way to make money. You're good at it. So if somebody wants to pay you for doing it, let them.
I see where you're coming from on that side of things, which, to be fair, I completely agree on. Like, there's going to be a point where I'll probably get something offered to me where there is going to be money involved. That is absolutely fine. Like, I'm never going to turn down making a cheeky buck somewhere. But I think on the side of with TikTok and what I do, I don't want, especially with like the products, the old fake tradey review, give me a tube of sealant and I'll give it a go. Like 3C, which is County Construction, like sending me stuff, and I've tried some different products. I could try loads of different products. But I think in my, like deep down inside, if somebody's like, here's a tube of Mastic, here's 50 quid. Like, to be fair, no, I am the kind of guy that'd probably take the 50 quid and go, you know what, that product's shit. But I don't want people thinking that every product's amazing. Like, fucking look at this tube of Mastic. And then they're like, do you use that tube? And I'm like, fuck no, I wouldn't even like prop my door open with it. Like, this stuff's shit. I think I just like the free reign where there's no strings to what I have to say or what I do. Just me. Like, even with dealing with people and interacting with people.
Yeah, TikTok at the moment, there is a lot of that. People just advertising anything.
Fucking, mobile phones or like, yeah.
That shit. But not people can see straight through that.
Yeah.
So those videos will not be popular. They won't be as popular when people just sell any old shit. Now, from what you've just said, you would test something, but it'd be an honest opinion. So, and as long as you keep being genuine, you don't have to worry about I know where you're coming from, but you don't have to worry about advertising the shit out of things that you don't really like, because you won't have to do that. You're an independent company or person. You could genuinely say to that brand, sorry, I don't like your brand, so I'm not going to advertise it for you. I don't care how much money you offer me. And then you can work with the brands that you do like and the products that you do like and get paid.
Yeah,
And I don't begrudge anybody doing that.
No, I see where you're coming from with that. I say I do get people contact me, not on a huge scheme of things. Yeah, I get like Ox Tools had a message from those, and they were like, "Can we send you a couple of guns?" Yeah, fucking sound. Send me a few guns, I'll give it a go. Used a few guns, loved them. Pinged them a few videos. They did whatever they wanted to do with them. They sent me a couple of guns, and I'm like, "Holy shit! Like, I am not using this gun." Like just couldn't get on with it, and I'm like, it will not work. Like, if you're a plumber and you're doing under the sink and you're doing one a day, it will be fine. But like me on the gun, it won't get done. Like, it just won't hold out. But then, like, anytime that anyone sends me anything, so like the guns from Ox Tools, I am kicking the ass out of that thing for at least 2 weeks before I even film anything. Like, I'm trying to break it. Like, I want to kill it. I'm putting the thickest like mastic and adhesive in them. You like using it constantly. Laying like I used one gun while I was away. Laid like 800 meters in a couple of days. Just same gun, solid use, and it was absolutely fine. They sent me. I don't even know whether I'm allowed to say this, but they sent me 2 prototype guns. One gun, absolutely amazing. The other gun, not so great. Guy rings me up and he's just like, "How are them guns doing? Like, can you just send me a quick voice note of these guns? Like, be honest." And I'm like, "Well, honest is what I can fucking give you." So I was just like, "Right, gun number 1, absolutely mint. Like, can't fault it." The guy that I work with, like Carl's been using it as well. He thinks it's fucking great. Gun number 2, no. Yeah, that ain't happening. Like, can't get on with it. Like, the grip sucks, the squeeze isn't right, like, just it's fucking horrible to use. Okay, sound, thanks. Right, I'll pass that forward. And I was like, yeah, no worries at all. I'm not sure where that's gone yet, if if it's been taken on board. But yeah, like, I don't know. I think I'm off on like a fucking rant here. Being honest with whatever you do is an incredible thing, and there's not a huge amount of that anymore. Like, so many people are out to blow smoke or people please. Yeah, I'm careful of what I say and what I do, but I'm just honest and I'm just me. And as you said, like, people do like that. People do enjoy it. I've been told, like, a couple of people that I've spoken to go, "I fucking love what you do." Like, it's relatable. Like, people, because again, like, I do the odd bit that's not just work. People see the inside of, like, the house or the cars or the shows that I go to or the things that I do for other people. And it's just what I enjoy doing. And I think I enjoy, like, I want to treat everybody the way that I want to be treated. Yeah, my old man's, it's, again, just the grafter.
It comes across, mate.
And that fucking cheers me right up. Like, proud as punch when I hear stuff like that. That's what people see. And a few people do tell me, but again, it doesn't always sink in. I'm always kind of like, again, but I'm not people pleasing. If I post a video and it does really well, fucking great. Like, I don't post videos to get like 1,000 likes or 1,000,000 likes. Like, I couldn't give a shit. If I post a video and it does like 10 likes, one person's found it funny, like, I posted it because I thought it was funny at the time. I filmed it, job done. The only thing at the minute is I keep forgetting to tell the guy my friend Carl that works with me. I keep forgetting to tell him, like, "Carl, I'm just about to fly. I'm going to film a couple of clips." Because every time I've put the camera down, completely forgot, thinking he was off being busy, he fucking strolls in the room, stands in front of the camera like he walked in the other day, drinking a can of energy drink, just burped, wandered off, started abusing something, shouted some profanities at someone, and strolled into the bathroom to go seal a basin up. And then like later on, he's like, "What's so funny?" And I'm like, "Dude, just check this out." And there's me being like sealing up a window, and you just hear this like giant belch, and like Carl like dragging his work boots and throwing his bucket of mastic on the floor. And he's like, "Fuck, you didn't tell me you're recording." I'm like, "Well, I thought you were busy." So I've got like a huge camera roll of like just outtakes from like my mate Carl saying the most inappropriate shit while I'm halfway through a mastic video.
You should post it. You should post that stuff, mate.
Oh, they're coming. They're coming. Don't worry. When I've got enough to get a decent video out of it, I'm going to link them all together, and he's going to be on there. He won't be impressed because he's not. But again, he's not a social media guy. He has Facebook. He's recently got TikTok.
Yeah, some people aren't, and to be honest with you, yeah, I'm not. I'm not someone who's going to stand in front of the camera and entertain. I'm just not. I'm not. It's a charisma thing. That I know we're talking about you, and I'm convinced that you're an entertainer. You'll be doing something in the near future that isn't what you do now. It might be related, and it'll be your career. I'm convinced of it. I just don't know what it is, because if I knew what it fucking was, I'd be a millionaire myself.
Mate,
it might not even be.
I'm looking forward to this. Whatever it is, I'm looking forward to it.
I'm telling you, just get... Well, it'll be something. I'm convinced of it. And I know we were talking about making money from social media, and obviously advertising is one way of doing that. But it doesn't have to be the only way. And like I said, I don't know what it'll be, but you entertain people. You've got hundreds of thousands of people who enjoy watching what you do. I don't think it will be being a mastic man forever. It might be related somehow. You might find something that you can do as well as that or alongside that, but I'm convinced you're too entertaining, mate, that it would be a shame if you just were a mastic man forever.
Hey, I'll take that. Like, I look forward to it. At the end of the day, I'm a firm believer of you never know what's around the corner.
Yeah. So with I think I told you this the other night. I'll often say to the missus, don't look at other people's social media, or don't look and compare yourself to it, because it's not real. That's not their life. You're just seeing snapshots of their life. And like, she'll say, I don't know, someone's on holiday, or someone took the kids somewhere, and we should do that because we don't do anything like that. I'm like, stop looking at other people's social media, because it'll make you depressed. It'll make you anxious. But then, for the first time ever, you've got other social medias other than being a mastic man. So I was doing a little bit of research. And I was thinking, fuck, this guy's loving life. And it's the first time ever that I found myself comparing my own life to somebody else's social media, and I had to catch myself and think, don't. Because you've got so many hobbies, and I've been thinking anyway for a while, I need a hobby. All I seem to do is work. I've got no hobbies other than whatever you do with the kids to keep the kids happy. And then I'm looking at your stuff and I'm like, wow, he's got on a BMX. He does cars up. He makes fucking pizza ovens or whatever you made out of fucking old wheels. He's like, his life's amazing. And I'm like, no. But so your other social media, the other aspect of it, doing the fucking house up and recording that, and I'm like, wow, he's a busy guy. He's got loads of hobbies and stuff. I'm like, so tell us about. I think the car is the thing that you do the most, other than your bike, innit? Or cars in general.
Pretty much. Cars in general. Yeah, that started again, like time with my dad. Like fucking people say it like I can say it true, like hand on heart. My dad is my fucking hero. Like he's my best friend when it comes to stuff. It's kind of scary. Like my mum always laughs. She's like, you two fucking, like you're always like, you can finish each other's sentences. And I'm like, we just love being around each other. Like my dad's got some years on him, but fuck it. Like if I'll go down the house and I'm like, I need to do this. Yeah, no worries. My dad's already in the garage. The fucking toolbox is out. Like the radio's on. He's getting me old dear to make us a cup of tea, and we're just ready for it. Or depending on the time of the day, we'll crack a couple of beers open. Like that guy is just something else, and he's taught me everything. Like, and my granddad, like before he passed away, like he passed that on to my dad. Everything's passed on to me. My granddad was a mechanic, so obviously I'm one of them people that watches, learns, have to absorb stuff. Like I have to soak it in. Even if it's not something that I'm ever going to do, I need to know how to do it. And the car side of stuff, my dad's always tinkered with cars. He was in the trade years ago. He was a paint sprayer and a panel beater. Absolutely loves it. And I started, obviously, when I started to drive. Volkswagens is kind of like my go-to thing. It's just kind of what I know. Had a Mark II Golf, or I had a Fiat Punto, which I don't even know how that thing's lived for as long as it did, but it survived. Had a Mark II Golf, had a Mark III Golf, had Lupos, Polos, Edition 30s. Like to the point that if I buy it, then I've got to build it. I've got to put my own stamp on it. Like, yeah, you can send it to a garage, but what's the fun in sending it to a garage when you can pull it to pieces in your driveway and make it work? So I had a Mark III Ibiza. It was probably the best thing. Or a lot of people, again, from Instagram and stuff, and original forums, knew this vehicle. It was a Mark III Seat Ibiza with a 1.8 turbo engine in it that came from the Mark IV Golf and the S3s and the Leons. Factory car, took me ages to find one, found one, turned it from 150 horsepower to 390 horsepower. It weighed 1,080 kilos. The thing was ridiculous. It was one of the craziest things that I've built. But again, me and my dad had the engine out of that like 3 times. It was on the workbench. Like we done brakes, we done suspension, exhausts. My brother's a welder and fabricator, so he gets dragged into that. He does loads of like used to do stuff for boat companies, Ministry of Defence. Like he's done everything. So I'm like, fucking right, ring my brother up. I need an exhaust. I'm going to order all the stuff for an exhaust. So like this is where me being me, I ended up contacting a few people years ago. Ended up speaking to a guy that lived from Brackley, a guy called Pete. He's like, oh yeah, sure. Like, what do you need from me? And I'm like, just some materials. And I'll just build this exhaust on my driveway. Oh no, fuck it. Bring it to the workshop. Like, and I told him my brother's a welder and fabricator. And he's like, you can just use the corner of the workshop for the day and then just pay me for the materials. I'm like, oh, sound. Yeah, that works. So from then on, my brother started doing a little bit of work for Pete. Anytime that anybody needed an exhaust or any materials, Pete was my go-to guy. So building this car, I fucking shit a conrod. That was like wobblier than an octopus's leg. I'm like, fucking game over. I need a new engine. Spoke to a guy that I knew. He's like, oh, I know. I've got a guy down in Poole who owns Vastworks. Go speak to him. And okay, fine. Ended up going down there. It was going to be a simple day job. That simple day job didn't go as planned. We were waiting on one part that never turned up. He's just like, look, just crash on my sofa. That was the best part of 20 years ago, easy. Ever since that point, like I was down at his twice a month, just hanging out with the family, like working at his garage. He was just like, customers come in, they've got a what was the one I'd done a while back? A Polo bread van, little square thing. Put a 16 valve engine in it out of a Polo. It's running on bike carbs. Do you want to just come down and wire it up, make it all work? Fuel pump, whatever. Yeah, fine. Booked a couple of days off work. Just went down there and helped him out. Again, didn't want anything for it. I just wanted to be down there, help somebody out, hang out with great people, then come home. I'd rig him up. Can we do this? Have you got this? Who do you know? Can you help me out? And the same for him, rings me up. Right, I'm doing this. Oh, there's a part that's up near you in Leicester or Birmingham. Can you come collect something for me? Just incredible people. And I built the best relationship with those guys down there. And then, like, introduced me to his next door neighbor and the guy that he used to work with. And he was into his old Volkswagens. And, like, just a massive network of people. But just cars is like a go-to. Like you were saying, you need a hobby, and I've got a million. Sometimes they jump on the back burner. I don't get a huge amount of time for them. But my switch off is, even if I've had a day's graft, whether it be a good day or a bad day, when I come home, all stuff gets put to the side for an hour, and I have to do something for an hour that I want to do. Whether it be again, so like obviously I've got the Lupo now, which again, I made a massive following on TikTok just from owning a Volkswagen Lupo. And people are like, fuck, I didn't know you owned a Lupo. Like, where do you live? Let's meet up. Or I met you at a show. Just like with cars and stuff, having that hour, like if I just jump in the Lupo and I'll just go out for a rip. Like, I'm not driving ridiculous, just going out because I want to be in the car. Like, sometimes I don't even have the radio on. Window down, just cruise out in the Lupo for an hour, come back. The missus understands this. I'll just go in the garage, like, or just go down, like, to my folks' house, and I'll be like, something in the garage I could tinker with. I'll rebuild my bike. I'll true a wheel. Or even come home and I'm like, there's something to do in the house. I'll build something in the kitchen. Again, those like, so my mate, good friend of mine, Chris, really into his banger racing, shit ton of steel wheels. Obviously, I looked on Instagram one day and seen somebody had made like a fire pit out of a washing machine drum and then like a steel wheel. I'm like, fuck, I'm not paying that much money. I'll make my own. Bring us my brother up. Bring the welder down. We're going to weld like 3 steel wheels together and it's going to be fucking amazing. So he's like looking at me like absolutely gone out. I'm looking at the angle grinder. I'm like hacking up these wheels. Built it, put a video on TikTok. People were like, fuck, if you're going to make them, like, I'll buy them. I'm like, fuck, here we go. Put a couple photo on Instagram. People are like, oh, they're amazing. Real good friend of mine, like, ended up building like a house. Like, Chris, needs some more wheels. He's like, take as many as you want. So I ended up with a garden full of steel wheels, welded a bunch of them together, like gave them to all my friends. And then we just go around their house in the summer. I'll just chill out by these lovely steel wheel fire pits that I've made with a couple of cold beers. Just as long as I've got my hour, there's a switch off. But yeah, cars is normally the go-to thing for helping somebody out. People turn up. Can you help me with this? Again, I made a Facebook. I've had some strange experiences from like Instagrams and Facebooks. Like years ago, a guy messaged me completely out of the blue. I've got a Mark II Golf with a 1.8 turbo engine in it. It's running really badly. I bought it as a project. Can you fix it? I'm like, yeah, like I'll have a look at it. This guy literally drove it to my house. I'd never met this guy in my life. Drove it to my house, dropped the car off, gave me the keys. Because like, well, what parts do you need? I'm like, I'm gonna need a few bits from off the top of my head, maybe like these 10 things. Hands me 200 quid and just goes, let me know if you need any more bits. Where's train station? I'm like down the road, bud. And he's like, yeah, no worries. Turned around and walked his ass to the train station and left. And this dude didn't even know me. And I just got this guy's Mark II Golf on my driveway for like a week. Done everything ready for it, sent it off. Like, come collected it. It was great. Another guy on Facebook's like, I'm having some issues. Another 1.8 turbo. I don't know how I got myself into this, but another 1.8 turbo engine. He lived in Corby. Ended up building like a great relationship with this guy. And then had a few cars. I'd done loads of work on them. He sold his car, moved up to Grantham. Then pops past one day. I'd got the Lupo Sport at the time, another black one. He goes out for a drive in it, comes back. He goes on his way. I'm sitting at home. My phone goes off. Message. Would you sell me the Lupo Sport? I'm like, fuck, I've only had it like 9-10 months. Missus is going to kill me if I keep selling vehicles. I'm like, yeah, sound. It owes me this much. And he's like, okay, sweet. Literally transferred me the money and then said, you wouldn't mind just delivering it to my house, would you? And I'm like, yeah, I'll come up at the weekend. Like, I'll cruise it up to him. So I drove it up. Same thing happened to him from like another dude, like bumped into him, really liked the car. He ended up selling it like a little while after. I finally bought myself a Lupo GTI. He comes down. We're chatting, cup of tea. We needed to pop out. We jumped in the Lupo, shot down the street. He's like, fuck, I need to buy myself a Lupo GTI. I'm like, oh my God, when will this end? A couple of weeks later, and he's just like, I found a GTI. It's in Rotherham. I'm like, fucking Rotherham. Like, could you not have found one a bit more local? He's like, can you come, like, drive to mine? And then I'll drive to Rotherham. So it's like, I finished work. Drove to him. It's like 7:00. Gets to Rotherham. Goes and looks at this Lupo. Anyway, it was a pile of shit. Ended up leaving it, coming home. A couple of weeks later, all I'm getting is like Facebook links to all these different cars. We finally found one. And then again, like I've posted a video on it. He's like, I've bought some brakes, I've bought an exhaust, like I've bought this intake. Can you help me do this manifold? I've bought these wheels. I'm like, yeah, no worries. So I've just been backwards and forwards to Grantham to help him. But again, it's just a switch off, and it's time with others that I enjoy.
Everything that you've just described, it's all communities. So you're in Volkswagen community, BMX community.
Massively.
And it sounds like and I'm jealous of this, by the way. It's the healthy family thing with your old man and your brother and your granddad, all sharing skills with each other, and then obviously you've carried that through to being able to socialize with and make friends with people from all over the place.
Like, honestly, my family is fucking incredible. Like, I can't, never a bad word to say. Like, my mom is the nicest woman. Like, people that know me that have turned up to my house. So even the guy that's now got the Lupo, that lives up in Grantham, he swung by the other day. We popped down, had to go to my mum and dad's to get something out of the garage. And like, my mum's straight to the back door. She's like, do you want a cup of tea? I've just got some bacon on the go. Do you want a bacon sandwich? Like, my mum feeds everybody. So, like, another quick one. Going out of like cars, going back to BMX. So I rode a contest in Poland with a dear friend of mine, Scotty. Had an incredible time. Got to know the people that ran the contest and organised this big contest in Poland. I ended up going to this contest, or going out to Poland like twice a year, once for the contest, once just to fucking hang out and drink vodka and have good times. They were like, oh, we're going to come over to the UK, like we're going to ride some skate parks and just kind of hang out and catch up with anyone. My friend Scotty ended up dating the daughter of somebody that used to run this contest. Comes over. My mum, I was living at home at the time, so my mum were like, don't worry about it. Everyone can stay at our house. Like, their hospitality when you're over there is incredible. Like, we're gonna show them. I'm like, yeah, sound. Like, I'm sure they'll love it. So my dad's just being my dad in his shorts, drinking cups of tea or drinking beer, like just chilling. There's like, I think there was 7 of them at the time. It's like 7 just chilling on the sofa. Like, mum's cooking food. Mum's like, do you want a cup of tea? Do you want anything to eat? They stayed at my house for like 2-3 days. They went off. We rode like a couple of skate parks. I was working as well at the time. And like, I was like, I had one day that I had to work. I gets up, goes to work. My mum's like sending me a message. They're all sat around the dining room table. Like, my mum's cooked full English breakfast for everyone. They're all having cups of tea. Like, it is just a one-stop shop at our house. The amount of people that have crashed on our sofa for like, whether it's been like a BMX contest or somebody's like turned up and had an issue where I've like done some work on their car for the day or whatever it may be. So many people have stayed on my mum and dad's living room floor. It is unbelievable. And they wake up normally to a full English and a proper cup of tea. Yeah. And my mum and dad never ask anything of anybody, like, especially my dad. We just do these things. My dad came down earlier and he's like, have you got a bag of cement and sand in the garage? And I'm like, yeah, why? And he's like, so there's a guy who lives a handful of houses down from my folks. Had an issue with a bit of the brick wall, needs some bricks putting back on, like the wall repointing. And I'm like, yeah, no worries at all. I was like, it's in the garage. Oh, I was like, how come? Oh, well, Dick's got like had an issue with the wall. Oh, no worries again. Like, just come grab it tomorrow. It's down here and you need it. But my dad's coming down to grab sand and cement out of my garage. He's going to go down the wall and like down the road and sort the wall out for like Dick that lives a handful of houses down, because he can, because he wants to. And it's the same for me. I'm like, oh, okay, well, if I'm at home, give us a shout. I'll come give you a hand. Like, just, yeah, like, oh, like now, like, I don't really think about it until you talk about it. I think it happens. And like, as well,
yeah,
like,
it's really nice, mate. It's really nice.
It is. And like, my missus as well, or fiance, shall I say? I can't say she's my missus. My fiance. She's very much just kind of like looked into our way, and she was humbled by like how my folks are with stuff. And yeah, like, she's exactly the same. She's just kind of like fitted into everything, helps everybody out, always puts herself second, everybody else is first. Yeah, like, it works. Like, it's an awesome thing, and I don't like. Just it makes me happy. I know that not everybody has that. You never know, like somebody's background or what they've got going on. So
Yeah, that's why I say I'm jealous of it, mate. So your dad's passed on to you all of the things that you're into, hobbies and all the rest of it. Some people don't get that. So you're lucky. You're obviously turned out a well-rounded geezer. You're a nice bloke. So it's not like I'm not jealous in that respect. But you're lucky to get a good family like that. And obviously it's rubbed off on you. So I think it's great.
nice. Well, I appreciate you saying that, but yeah, I don't think I've turned out too bad. Like I picked up like my dad with my dad like passing on all this. He's just a well-rounded guy. Like that guy, I rang him the other day and I'm like, Dad, I'm stacked out. Like obviously me now doing my like Mastic and owning my own firm. I'm like, I don't always get a huge amount of time to do stuff at home. And he's like, well, I'm not really doing a huge amount. I'll come down. What do you need me to do? And I'm like, well, I need some paint burning off in the hallway, like ready to decorate. I need some wallpaper taken off. Yeah, no worries at all. And like I came home the other day, like the house was hoovered, he'd been down, like extension leads all rolled up, he'd burnt all the paint off in the hallway. Like it just never ends. Like I came home when we'd first bought the house because he's like, well, what can I do? Because the garden was like a jungle. And he's just like, yeah, I'll just pop down. He's just coming down, like wheelie bin's full. He's just been down, sorted out a load of the garden, or come down, tidied some stuff up. Just like my mum was down here. She was doing stuff in the house. Like endless stuff. They're incredible. Just coming down and being like, what can we help with? Or because we were living when I bought this, obviously it was full of everybody's stuff or like the previous owner's stuff. So I was like temporarily living here, like living down the road, living at my partner's house, until we got to a point where I could actually decorate and I had one room that was functionable to live in. Like it took us months to clear this house because of the stuff that was in here. But yeah, people like, again, jumped on Instagram because they'd seen like what a cool fucking house that was, but only me. Like it was only, if it was going to be anybody, it had to be fucking me that bought this house that was full of somebody else's shit since 1954. Yeah. But like people jumped on the Instagram and the house Instagram, which me and the missus ran. So many people just jumped in there and loved the story because, again, this is probably part of like my upbringing and how I am. We didn't buy this house, get a load of skips in the driveway and just fucking dump this couple's possessions in the skip and just be like, fuck, it's my house. Like, I don't care about their shit. We kept loads of stuff. We got rid of bags and bags of clothes and God knows whatever else that we got rid of.
Is all this stuff documented on the Instagram?
Yes.
Are you documenting things that you find? Because I haven't seen that Instagram account. That sounds really interesting.
So it'll be on my Instagram, but it's The Cooper's Crib on Instagram. So it's got like the house when we bought it, like every room looking like a jungle. All the stuff that we found. You'll fall into a rabbit hole when you go on there. So we found all the war stuff from Fred. So I'll try not to go into it too much. So the street that I live on is the same street that my mum and dad live on. We literally live at opposite ends, which is convenient because dad's got all the tools in the garage. Anyway, we bought this house, and obviously Fred was in World War II. We found all of his war stuff. There's love letters, there's cards, there's all his logbook, photos, drawings. We've got a couple of books with all the drawings of like how to strip down the anti-aircraft guns and the guns that are on the back of the planes. And the guy that lives next door, he said, because obviously I knew the guy because I walk the street quite a bit. He was like, there's a painting in the house. I'm like, okay, like what is it of? And he's like, it's the Lancaster bomber that Fred flew in. He said, my dad painted a painting of his plane. It'll be in the house somewhere. Like it used to hang in the front room on the chimney breast. We ended up finding it in the back of a wardrobe. So we've still got it. And I offered it back to him, and he's like, "Oh, I don't really like have any use for it. Like, just keep it." So obviously we've kept this upstairs at the minute. But like we went through all of his war stuff, and I'm like, I can't throw this stuff out. Like it's just wrong. So a couple of people we got in contact with. There's loads of museums. So like a few museums have had a lot of that stuff. We kept a few bits as well. So there's something called a death penny, which was given out in World War One, and it's all complete. It's still in a box. It was like a massive bronze coin with it was Fred's uncle with a letter from the king, like a handwritten letter and a printed document as well, saying that we're really sorry he's been killed in action. So we've still got that upstairs. Obviously, it's no relevance to me, but apart from just being like fucking cool. So that's going to get framed. That's going to go in the downstairs toilet where all the other cool stuff seems to live at the minute. But yeah, we just went through like their whole life was in here. Like they were such a glamorous couple.
Didn't they have any other family? They got no other family.
No, they only had they only had a nephew, and he wanted like nothing to do with the house other than any other money that was left to him. He wanted. So when we bought the house, obviously we tried to track down any relatives or any family. Spoke to the guy next door, and he's like, they've got a nephew. We ended up getting his details, rang him up, and I'm just like, look, do you want anything out the house? Because obviously it's nothing to do with us. Like, it's your family. Like, do you want anything? And he's just like, no, get rid of it all. And that was the last piece of contact we ever had with him. Everybody thought the lady that used to live here, Violet, everybody thought she had died because like 2018, she obviously went in an ambulance and never came back. So like the whole street thought, fucking, she's died. We ended up getting a letter from, I think it was the water company. And I was like, well, this reads like she's still alive and like recently had contact with them. So living in a small town, made a few phone calls, ended up she was in a care home, like not too far from where we live. So me and the missus, we put like a few bits together, like some clothes, like a bottle of perfume, some of the photos. We put all of those stuff like in a bag, and we actually took them to the care home and dropped them off. We didn't meet her. Obviously, I didn't want it to be a bit weird that we'd bought the house, but yeah, we just dropped off a bag at the care home, like for her. We recently found out, I think it was last month, she had actually passed away. She was like 94. But yeah, so like again, went through the house, cleared a load of stuff out. We went and done a couple of car boot sales because there was loads of like trinkets, mate. The stuff that you could imagine that was in this house. So we'd done a car boot. All the money that we got from the car boot sale went back into the buy the stuff for the house, pay for the kitchen. Again, favor for the favor. I knew a guy that was starting his own company, and he said, "Oh, I'll fit your kitchen for you. Like, just get me some work." So he spent a week at our house. By the time he'd left, he'd got 4 kitchens to do for like local residents. But yeah, so like we just posted everything on the Instagram. So from the garden, all the bedrooms, the stuff that we'd found, the stuff that we've built, like what we've done. And literally between like me, my dad, my mum and the missus, we've done the whole of this house. We've got 2 rooms left. One I'm sitting in, which is just bare plaster and bare walls, and the hallway. But yeah, we just churned through the lot. Again, putting everything into practice that my dad had taught me.
That's your only social media that I haven't seen, and it sounds like the most interesting.
Like, please drop me a message when you've had a look and like gone through it. But there is some cool stuff on there.
I'll definitely have a look, mate. So I think, to be honest, I don't even know if you're aware, but obviously a lot of the things that you do end up being some form of entertainment through social media, and you're clearly good at it. Do you see that as kind of your future? Having some kind of, I don't know, documenting things that you get up to, or some kind of presenting or entertainment, or creating some kind of, I don't know, social media series of events? Have you even thought about it?
I can't say as I've ever thought about it, no. I just very much just plod along and see where things take me. Like obviously I set goals and aim to get there, but like not once have I ever thought like, right, presenting or doing anything like you've just mentioned. The only stuff that I really do is my Instagrams, my TikToks, and then anything. So I still do BMX shows. I do loads of shows at Santapod for a good friend of mine. Again, bumped into somebody, ended up chatting. Don't know how it happened, but then ended up riding for the best part of probably 7 or 8 years for Scott, who owns a company called Cool Flow, who's just like vintage buses, Beetles, anything old, Volkswagen, loads of like air-cooled stuff, occasional water-cooled. He put some mini ramp up at Santapod, loads of cars. Someone decided it'd be a great idea to give me a microphone at a family event. Like, there's some
That is
P's
a
and
good
Q's that
idea.
have to
It
get
doesn't
watched
surprise me
there.
at all.
To be fair, yeah, it is. And it was just after COVID, it kind of like sorted its shit out, and we were back doing the first show. And I'm there, and I'm like on the mic, and I'm just chatting away, talking about all the riders on the ramp, and like making sure everybody's had like a good day. And out of nowhere, this dude just stands at the back and he goes, "Yes, champions!" And I was like, "Oh, for fuck's sake!" Like, literally cannot go anywhere. Ended up like finished the final demo of the day, and he comes over to me, like had a chat, like gives me a beer, and just carried on his merry little way. But yeah, I've never like thought about that side of things. I think I've just kind of took it with whatever I've done day to day.
Yeah, that's probably why you're good at it, mate, because you're not really particularly trying to do it. Do you know what I mean? It's like there's a lot of people who do what you do on social media, and that is their job. That's their only career. They need it to make money, so they're trying really hard to do it. And fair play to them. Some of them make it work, some of them don't. You're kind of doing their job as a hobby. That's not paying your bills.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah.
No, turning up to work
what
every
I
day
would
and
what I
grafting
would
my ass off
usually
to pay
say
my
is,
bills.
yeah, exactly. What I would usually say is at this stage, because I'm always talking to someone in the trades, give some advice to not necessarily young people, but anybody who wants to get into that whatever particular trade that the guest is in. But I'm going to ask you for 2 lots of advice, and you won't like the second one because you don't necessarily think about it as a career. But if you can give people advice on how to get into your trade, first of all, just as if they're interested in doing it, how to get good at it, and where to look for work or where to get trained up to do it, but then also how to get into doing social media the way that you do it.
Okay. Right, let's tick the first one off. So getting into the trade of being a sealant applicator or a mastic man, or as some of them are known on site, just the gun jockeys, because they just rock up and get the job done and ride out of there on their horse. Social media again. Like, it's there. You can find everything on the internet. So if you could use a gun, and it's something that you want to get into, and you've kind of got a bit of a grasp of what you need to do, because you don't need a huge amount of information to start, or a huge amount of skill to start as a mastic man. A lot of companies do in-house training, so there's loads and loads of companies out there. In-house training, you'll rock up, they'll teach you what they need you to do for the job that you're going to be doing. Ping a load of emails out, make phone calls, like, don't be afraid. Messages on Instagram, messages on Facebook, whatever it might be. I've even had people messaging me being like, "Can you train me? Like, I'll pay you to train me how to be a mastic man." Because there is money in every trade when I suppose you're good at it. If you want to do it off your own back, there is a company in Bristol, I think it is, that you can turn up. It's like a college course. I don't know a huge amount about it, but you can just turn up. They teach you how to seal windows, some sanitary ware, like your basins, your baths. And then at the end of it, I suppose you get some form of certificate to say that you know how to use a silicone gun. Because there is an MVQ in it now. To be a mastic man, as crazy as that sounds, and not many people believe it. But yeah, a lot of companies do in-house training. So jump on Google, look for sealant companies. There's loads out there. And they're all local. Loads in the Midlands. There's a bunch of them down south. There's a handful of them that I follow on like Instagrams and Facebooks. And to be fair, that like because it's such a growing trade at the minute, there's so many people that are looking for apprentices or lads to train. The firm that I worked for, they were always having people like phoning them up, coming in, doing test days. You get a couple of days with the firm to see if it's something that you're into. Because it's not just being a Mastic man. Like you've kind of, with me, my contracts manager, like an amazing guy. My contracts manager used to say, like, you've got to have the whole package. Like you've got to, his words were always like, you've got to close the book at the end of the day. So although you're turning up to do the Mastic, you've got to talk to the agents, talk to the customers, do whatever you need to do there. Make sure that you've got to the end of the day, you've closed the book, nothing else is coming of it. Like you've not left any demons to bite you in the ass the next day or wandered off and not done something that you shouldn't have done. So yeah, the same as any job. Turn up, find out what you need to do, be the best at it. Get whoever's going to train you, like pick their brains, ask questions, learn. Not everything has to be done at work. Like come home and learn. Watch it on Instagram. I enjoy watching other people's Mastic videos, like some of the good guys that I follow on the net. So yeah, that pretty much wraps up number one. Number two.
Before you carry on, I love that you said social media, because normally when I ask people that question, they'll go through, and obviously there is the traditional methods: be an apprentice, go to college, do this, do that. But I love that you said social media, because we were talking before about interacting with the tradesmen on social media.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think that obviously there is that aspect of it where some tradesmen are just knobheads and they'll rip people's work to pieces. But if you find the good groups and the good communities, and a good community is actually the people that follow you, that's your community, that's the Martyn Cooper community, and it's a good community. So that's why the comments are always nice. You've created that community. But what I think is happening on social media is trades are helping other trades to get better. So if you look at bathrooms and kitchens and what you do, and tiling and garden and landscape gardeners, the skill involved now is fucking unbelievable. It's like you've never seen stuff that's being done now that I've never seen it done before. And it's what's happening is it's social media. Whereas before you might have known Martyn's mate and Martyn's dad, who could teach you some stuff that you didn't know how to do. But now you know Martyn, the 10,000 people who are similar to Martyn who also follow him. TikTok will show you them as well, and you're picking up things where, like, there's a guy called Broad Landscapes. I don't know if he's pretty popular on TikTok and Instagram. He does things with, and he's a landscape gardener. He does things with materials in a garden that, like, like the I might get this wrong, but like the Japanese woodwork style, when they make their own woodwork joints, and they're like a Japanese dovetail, whatever, and it's really fucking intricate.
Yeah.
And he does that with stone and porcelain, and you're like, how the fuck's he doing
I think
it?
I might have seen that.
Yeah, he's amazing, and I don't think that would exist if it wasn't for social media, because obviously he's showing off, and I think he'd admit, I don't make any money from this. I'm doing it to see if I can do it. In fact, I lose money when I do stuff like this because it takes fucking ages, and I can't charge what I'm supposed to charge for it. So I think it's social media pushing people, and they'll see, oh, I saw that guy do that thing with that tool, I've got one of them, so I'll give that a bash. And then they find it, and then they figure out another way of doing something. So to put it bluntly, I love that you said go to social media, because a lot of people, even now, they'll still dismiss.
Like, I still learn.
Yeah, people still dismiss social media even now. And
I love going on social media and figuring stuff out.
Okay, so number 2, the second bit.
So you want a brief description of, like, just getting into the social media side of things?
Give me some advice.
Give you some advice.
I personally don't think I could do it, because it's a charisma thing and a natural talent or natural ability to do it thing, but lots of people will try, so give them the advice.
Okay, well, the only thing that I suppose I can say when it comes to that is find something that you're passionate about, because there's no point in making a load of videos if you don't really give a fuck about them. So whether it's my cars or my bikes or work, so that's something I enjoy. So that's the easy part. Don't film or post shit for other people. Like, that's one thing that I think that for me, I think I said it earlier, I don't post anything that I'm like, oh, I might just post this because it's going to get me X, Y, Z. I'm like, I'm going to post it. Like, if it goes well, it goes well. If it flops, fucking so be it. Like, I'll just deal with it. And just be you. Like, don't try and copy somebody else, or don't try and be someone that you're not, because it's not real. Like, just be you. People are going to like you. Like, even if there's fucking something strange about you, or I don't know, like whatever it might be, somebody's going to follow you. Somebody's going to watch it. Like, yeah, that's just fuck it. Like, it just, you start to enjoy it when it's your own stuff. And you'll be like, oh, this is cool. I'll film this and post it. And you get back, you've posted it, you've edited it, you've done what you've needed to do, and you post it. Like, you're not, like, don't try and go on social media to make social media happier, because there's always going to be some fucking moron out there that's miserable about everything. Like, if you're trying to post videos to keep everybody happy, it's impossible. Like, you can't do it. So just
it's really difficult as well, because if you wanted social media to be, I don't know, even a hobby, but you wanted to gain a lot of followers, it's really, really fucking difficult to get content. So if you're not doing something, like you've just said, if it's not you and it's not something that you actually care about, you'll be struggling for content after probably 3 days because you've been trying your best to be, I don't know, let's say, be like someone else that you know's got a lot of followers. Someone's trying to be like you. It's not going to happen because they're not you. And they'll struggle after a few days to find the content because it's not genuine.
Yeah, it's not something that's going to come natural, or something that they can just kind of go, you know what? Yeah, this is just in my day-to-day life. Like, oh, fuck it, I'll film it. With the stuff that I do, I'll be wandering into a plot or a house or work somewhere, and I'm like, oh, fuck it, this is cool. Yeah, this will make a good clip. Grab stuff out of the van, film it, job done, go about my day. Like, I'm not searching around trying to be like, this is a cool angle, or this is cool, I need to film this, or just rock up, smash it out, get it done. That's
There's something in that, by the way. So if your style is like raw, natural, and you're good, you're obviously a natural speaking to camera, which is actually a fucking really difficult skill, speaking to camera. But what you've just said with regard to the arty side of it, finding the right angles, making it look nice, there is actually something in there if people want to get into that. There's shitloads of free apps and stuff that you can learn how to get good at that if that's your thing, like editing in your bedroom or whatever. So there is another side to it if you want to get into it to make nice arty videos.
Because you put in the
amount of any advice in that, but
like saying like what you've just said there. Again, if you want to put, like, I just kind of film it and just go for gold. Like, if it works, it works. Sound, but some people out there, I watch some people's videos and I'm like, fuck, that's amazing, because they've put time and effort in, and although they've done their like amazing content of whatever it might have been, they've again put the time and effort into it even more to be like, right, I need this app and I need this, or I'm using this. Like, the most effort I put into it was, I was tired of shit one night on eBay and I was fucking bought a new tripod for my phone. That's as much effort as I put into being like, this is a snazzy angle. Because even the guy, like, even my mate Carl, and he's just like, oh, if you ever need me to film anything, and I'm like, nah, fuck it, I'll just do it all one-handed. It's like, it adds to the fun. And he's like, but if you ever need me, just give me a shout. And I'm like, yeah, like it's going to be what it's going to be. Like that video that you said earlier when I did the flare on that quarter when I was at the skate park the other day. all day I was like, oh, I'm going to go to the skate park, hopefully get there early. That was after coaching on a Tuesday. And I was like, get there early. Like I could maybe get like a handful of clips on a few ramps that I like. And I got like really into it thinking, oh, I'm going to film all of this cool shit. And then I turned up there. I ended up having a long day at work. I got to coaching just on time. All the kids rocked up. I never really got much of a ride at the start. Rode with the two groups. All the kids were absolutely shredding. We had like a wicked lesson. They all went home, and I'm like, fuck, I haven't filmed anything. Well, I'll just whop a banger out now. So I grabbed my phone. I propped it up against the like one of the ledges in the skate park. I'm like, yeah, that's not a bad angle. Looked in the microphone, said me bit, did the trick, landed it, picked up my phone, got in the car, drove home, and then like the next day, I'm like, I'll post that clip. Went on there, trimmed the clip down, posted it. The end. Like that just works for me because it
worked out well.
It didn't work out too bad. There has been times like you're saying, like I'm a natural. There's been one time where I like fully shit my pants when somebody stuck a camera in my face. So years ago, when I rode BMX all the time, I was at a contest at Poland, Baltic Games in Gdańsk, and I had to fly back. I was meant to fly back on the Tuesday. I had to fly back early because I'd been asked to do the captain's challenge on Question of Sport. So me and my friend Tom.
Hang on, rewind.
Go on.
So Question of Sport on the BBC. The classic
as in the BBC.
Sports
Yeah.
So you were asked to do something for for a question that was on the show.
So they do a thing called the
Is
Captain's
it the thing
Challenge.
where it's go on.
So they do what they call the Captain's Challenge. So obviously the captains of both of the team, they get put in like a bit of a sticky situation, and they've got to answer a bunch of questions in like 30 seconds or something. So they may have like a tennis player whacking balls out in one day, or just something sports related. Anyway, they put a ramp in the studio. They sat the guy at the bottom of the ramp, while me and Tom like literally rode up and down the ramp, like around them. And they had to answer like 10 questions in 30 seconds. But like they were absolutely amazing. Like everyone was there, was just cool as hell, and like both of the captains were like, just go super fucking close to him, like scare him, like he better not get any questions right. And then the other one was the same. He's like, look, I don't even care if you run him over, like couldn't care less. So yeah, literally chair in the middle of the mini ramp. Like they put the captain in the middle there. They started the timer. Me and Tom had to drop in, and like we were airing. So the ramp was like a 7, maybe 8 foot high mini ramp. So just like a half pipe. And we were like just blasting the biggest airs we could, just getting as close to the captains on the way back through. And then we just had to like say a little piece, and once both of the captains are done, just like a wave at the end, and then that was off. Like just said like who we were. And I think I don't know whether it's still on the internet, but I think if you put in like Martyn Cooper BMX Captain's Challenge, like it's still on the internet somewhere. On the BBC page of like, it's just like riding the mini ramp around the captains from Question Sport. And then, the show finished. We just went backstage and just had a cup of tea. I had some food, and I just carried on my merry little way like just any other day.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, so you were saying nerves in front of the camera, and I interrupted you and made you tell me about the BMX story.
But yeah, like when I was doing stuff like big stuff like that, you do get proper. That's kind of the only time that when there's a camera involved, I'm scared. Maybe just scared's not the right word. Nah.
No, it's you get nervous. It can happen if you've got something in your mind. Right, I'm going to do this when I'm on the TV, or when we've experienced it on this podcast a little bit, because the slightest little thing can throw you completely, and then you don't know what to say or do, and you forget your own fucking name. Like we've had some delay on this podcast, so it's probably for the best actually. So I've been very conscious about not butting in when you're talking, because it doesn't come instantly. It comes halfway through the next thing that they say, and it puts you off. So I've tried not to do it, and it can put you off. It completely put me off earlier on. I completely forgot what I was saying because I had such a delay, and you're like, fuck, what were we talking about? I've completely forgot. But yeah, so on a national TV, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, like fucking proper scary, to be fair.
Yeah. I think may have covered everything that I wanted to ask you, mate. Is there anything specifically that you wanted to talk about or tell people?
Nah, not really. This is like where I have to offer words of wisdom. Nah, like to be fair, the only thing that I want to say is like just fucking thank you to like everybody. I had messages on like Instagram, and because I've recently opened up my TikTok messenger, so like I had to follow that person before they could message me, but pretty much like anyone can message me now. And then when I've got time, I'll
Yeah,
kind of
that's
just
how I
reply.
got hold of you. I had to
like,
comment on your videos and say, please fucking reply.
Yeah. But like, yeah, so on that side of it, like I just kind of want to thank everybody that follows, or everybody that's interacted, whether it be like good or bad. All the comments, people that have like just bumped into me on building sites, or been driving down the dual carriageway waving out the side of their work van, like whatever it may have been. Like that's the kind of shit that makes me happy in what I do. Just people rocking up and just having a laugh. I've had a couple of people, even a while back I had a guy message me, I can't remember the lad's name, clearly wasn't in a good place with stuff, and just messaged me on my Instagram and just said like, I really hope you don't mind me messaging you, but I follow you on TikTok, like I watch your videos, been having like a bit of a bad time recently, like your bad days on site make my bad days like a little bit better. And I was like, fuck, I didn't really know like how to comment back with that, but again, like had a chat backwards and forwards, didn't dig into it too much, but I was just like, look, if you ever do need to chat, ping us a message. Like I'm always here. Yeah, and I've had a few people that are just like, whatever my day holds, like no matter how bad my day is, I always jump on TikTok because I know that you're probably having a worse day, and I'm like, yeah, thanks.
Yeah. You'd be surprised, mate, that people watch and people listen, and it cheers people up. Even like a 1 minute or 30-second video, it does. It can change someone's frame of mind completely. You'd be very surprised what help you might actually be giving to people.
I think, as you said earlier, like finding a hobby, and like having time. I found this out quite late in the firm that I used to work for, but having that work-life balance is a massive thing. To the point that, yeah, like as I said earlier, I'll just pull an hour out of my day. Like once I'm home, I'm like, don't need to deal with any shit. I'm just going to do an hour of whatever I'm like. It might even just be like jumping on an Xbox. As long as it's not sitting on your phone, as you said, diving into somebody else's life, being like, oh, that shit's perfect. Sally's bought this, or Steve's got a new car. Like nobody gives a fuck about Steve's new car. Like let Steve be Steve and post it all over the internet. You go and do something that you want to do. Like just take time for yourself, like no matter what it is, like even just having a conversation with the missus. Although not everybody wants to, just do something that you want to do and have a switch up. Well, yeah, no, I know a few people like that. But yeah, just do something, like find a happy work-life balance. Like don't get involved in, just don't dig too deep in all the shit that's out there. Like think about you.
Yeah, I know we've been banging on about social media quite a lot, but on the total flip side of that, don't spend too much time on social media. I'm always recommending it to traders, but
so like as you said that, I got to a point where like I'm gonna say out of hand, but fucking I was on like TikTok all the time watching pointless shit. I was on Instagram, and I would literally go Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, eBay for car parts, then back to Instagram, then TikTok, and it got stupid. Like my fucking screen time was outrageous, to the point now that like I've capped all my social media. So my Facebook is an hour, my Instagram is an hour, my TikTok is an hour, and then all of those apps shut down once my time is up. So like if I've it's kind of handy. But if
that's
I'm
what I do to my kids.
But it works. Like if I'm in the day and I've been on
it's a good idea.
I've had like a bit of a steady day and I've been on Instagram a lot. When I come home and it's like, oh, you've only got 12 minutes left on Instagram. Once that 12 minutes up, I've got to find some other shit to entertain me with. But yeah, like I just got to a point like, so I've capped all of mine now, because then again, you're not just sat staring at your phone all the time. So yeah, like I capped all of those at, I think it's an hour. Look, if I am filming something on TikTok and it says like 3 minutes left, it's got a little bit that pings up, says add 10 minutes, and I'll add 10 minutes, and then once it's filmed, the app shuts down. I just don't go back on it, and I'm not even bothered about going on there and being like, oh, you know what, I need to add some more time because I'm worried what Karen's doing 3 doors down. Or it's
just anxiety inducing, isn't it? When a lot more people these days are anxious and suffer with anxiety, and I'm fucking convinced it's social media. So if you have those kind of problems, just don't look at social media for a day. I guarantee you'll feel better. I was saying this the other day to somebody else. I guarantee you'll feel better about yourself. And I said this to somebody else today, is that if you don't actually see it on social media, it's actually not happening. So if you're seeing things that are making you feel anxious or nervous or scared, and it's usually the fucking media, it's not people like you and me. If you don't actually see it, if it's not being forced into your face, it's not affecting your regular life. Therefore, it's not actually happening.
Yeah, like I 100% agree with that. Like to the point that in this house, like with me and the better half, we've got Netflix and Amazon, and that is it. Like TV don't even go on in this house because, again, I couldn't care less what's going on in the world. I know it's like some people do. Had a conversation with a person a while back, and they were like, "Oh, it's a bit shit that you just shut yourself off from the world." And I'm like, "Fucking, it's really not. Like, I'm happy in my bubble. Like, unless it affects me, the missus, like my folks, my close friends, I could not give a fuck about it." And it is a bit ruthless to say. I'll probably get some backlash from it. But like, I don't give a fuck what's going on. I don't care about the government. I don't care who's doing what, who's bombing who's going without, whatever. Like, I'm just not fussed because I've got more important shit to worry about. Like, I need to worry about me. I'm not worried that Boris Johnson
things you can actually fucking impact.
Yeah, stuff that you can control and stuff that you can deal with. I'm not saying like I'm completely ruthless and I don't care about everything. But there is a giant proportion that I'm just kind of like, nope. So during COVID, every time I went down to my folks' house, my mum's like, this many people have died, this has happened, you can't do this, you can't do that. And she was like, and like it got to a point again, like, because I went down there like on a Saturday and the news had been on since like 8 o'clock in the morning. She's drinking her tea, like lapping it all up. And I'm just like, and she's like, so and so's happened. I'm like, don't care. This many people have died. I'm like, yes, it's really sad, like, and it does suck. But again, like, I'm not going to go home and sleep any different knowing that X amount of people have got COVID or not got COVID. So I even said to my mum the same as what you said.
That time is the time. I haven't watched the news since then.
But I said to my mum,
because of what they were saying so often.
Like as what you said, I just said to mum, I'm like, turn it off. Like, you don't need to be watching it, because every time I come down here, all you do is talk about something depressing that's on the news. Like, let's just like get away from that. And again, once it stops and you're not watching it all the time, you don't really give a fuck about it. And that's the same as me. Like, I'm not fussed. I don't have any news updates on my phone. I'll have a little browse and see who's having a little whinge on Facebook, and that's kind of as far as things go.
Yeah, a lot of the news, and to be honest, mate, it's not social media. The people on social media, it is actually the companies themselves, the social media companies, the media companies, the fucking clickbait articles and the fear mongering. And I was talking to somebody on the last podcast. They call it the mainstream media, so it's like the one that people will watch the most, or supposedly watch the most. But they're the fucking worst. They're the worst for it, for like fear and stressing people out. So yeah, just don't watch it at all. It doesn't. There's nothing you can do about. There's nothing you can do about fucking. I don't know. What were they on about the other day? Shooting aliens out the sky. There's nothing you can do about it. It's just all total bollocks. It's all total bollocks. There's no point fucking looking at it. So yeah.
No, yeah, literally me and my bubble, and if I can't control it, I ain't fussed.
Yeah. So with that in mind, we've just told people to stop looking at social media. Tell people what all your social media handles are that they can follow you on.
So the house Instagram is the Cooper's Crib, I think it's the Cooper's Crib. Mine's Martyn Coops, Martyn with a Y and not an I, because everybody gets it wrong. So Martyn Coops on Instagram, Martyn Cooper on Facebook, Martyn Coops on TikTok. I think even my LinkedIn account's like Martyn Cooper or Martyn Coop still. Yeah, like I'm really original and I just keep shit the same because I'm not creative enough to make like a bunch of different ones.
On brand. It's on brand, mate. It's on brand.
So yeah, that's.
I highly recommend the TikTok.
Well, I appreciate that you have had many hours of enjoyment watching some of the fuckery I've had to deal with on site and off site.
It's brilliant, mate. It's really brilliant. Listen, mate, I appreciate it because we've had some real technical issues. We've been cut off. This is the 4th recording, so we've been cut off 3 times. Are you still there?
Oh no, big glitch. Oh, I thought this was going to be the 5th recording.
No, we're still on number 4. I might keep that in actually just to prove what a fucking shit recording we've had. So yeah, I appreciate it, mate. I really do, because it can be quite off-putting. You will have noticed that this is the good part of it actually. I've had to let you speak, which is actually really good. Normally it could be a little bit more, because when I speak it's not instant, and when you speak it's not instant. We can't speak quickly. Do you know what I mean? Because it just puts the other person off because they're already on to the next sentence. So it's been good. You've persevered and you've been really good, mate. I really appreciate it.
No,
You've given me time. It's fucking 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah,
Thank you very
is.
much.
Thank you for getting in contact with me and doing this. And again, it's something that you're passionate about and that you enjoy. So, why wouldn't I do it? Yeah, you get to enjoy your passion. I get to chat shit about what I do.
Is, well, yeah, I suppose my passion is letting other people hear other people's stories. So there's a lot of people on social media, like yourself, that we don't know you. We kind of know you. I thought you were a character at first. Obviously not. But so you don't really know the person. And I'm in trade groups and fucking follow people on TikTok. So I want to get these people on they seem interesting on social media, and I want them to be able to tell their story so people can get a little bit closer to knowing that person. And then there's so many people who listen who can then they get in touch and say, listen, I didn't realise I could relate with that Tyler that you had on, and it was really good listening to him. And like you said, you get people who may be struggling, and you're not necessarily talking about mental health or anything like that, but just by listening to someone who they can relate to, it really helps them out. So it's brilliant. I appreciate it, anybody that comes on. So thank you very much.
No problem at all. Thank you.
Cheers, mate.
Hey, no worries. I'm going to make myself another cup of tea and
me.
Go to fuck to sleep.
Yeah.
See you later, buddy.
Cheers, mate. Bye-bye.
Cheers, bud. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.